And tonight Georgia Tech is here after a very disappointing loss last Saturday night in Atlanta to Bowling Green. Miami played 2 weeks ago against Temple. They had a bye week. It's a bye week that they use to explore the depth with their football team on both sides. And in talking to Shannon Dawson on the offensive side and Lance Guidry on the defensive side, it's clear tonight we're going to see some guys who in the last 10 days have earned more playing time for these Canes. Kick is away from Borregales. There'll be no return, and Georgia Tech will start 1st and 10 from its 25. And we'll get a look at Haynes King, the other quarterback tonight, who's also off to a pretty good start. And he's got a journey. 2021 starting quarterback at Texas A&M, injured in the second game. A year ago, 1-5 as the starter, entered the portal after season's end. And he's been on fire in Atlanta, Tim.
I've really been impressed by him. I think he sees the field well. He's a smart football player. He's accurate. His ability is definitely what you want out of a quarterback. And he's had a lot of production. See 15 touchdown passes so far this season. That's pretty good.
Jamal Haynes with him in the pistol. King wants to throw. Tried to get it on the perimeter to the freshman Eric Singleton and threw it by him because he was being pressured by Corey Couch. Miami right away trying to find an alley to pressure Georgia Tech, and defensively they've been very solid.
Well, they've been very solid, and they do an excellent job of just bumping off Singleton as he's trying to scrape across the formation. When they do that, they disrupt that play entirely.
There are 14 categories on defense. Miami is 1 or 2 in the ACC in 3 of them. Here is Haynes trying to get to the edge, and as he's brought to the ground after a gain of 1.
You know, and I think this ball comes out, and you know, Haynes is an interesting player, receiver, but was playing running back. You know, when you're running inside, dealing with linebackers, the ball can come out. Also, we had that rain. You know, sometimes you'll just get a little slickness between what's on the ground still, and if it touched any of the balls prior to coming into play.
Jackets are 49% on 3rd down. King hit as he throws, put up a flutter ball that Couch almost came away with. Instead, it'll be 3 and out. Jafari Harvey, the rush end from Port St. Lucie, got to King as he cut it loose.
You know what's interesting is we had a really heavy, rain that went on for about a minute, and I'm seeing guys slip on the ground. Haynes King, look at the ball come out of his hands. Like he's not hit until after that ball comes out of his hand, and I think you called it a flutter, Wes. I mean, it looked like it was punted.
The Irishman, David Shanahan, punts it away to Xavier Restrepo. From the 25, looking for an alley at the 30. Restrepo steps out of 1, but cannot get away from the second wave of Jackets. 49-yard punt from Shanahan. And here comes Tyler Van Dyke to take over for Miami. And, of course, 2 years ago, he was terrific. ACC Rookie of the Year, 25 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. A year ago, kind of star-crossed. Slow start, then a shoulder injury derailed him 9 games in. And now, Tim, well, everything's just fine, thank you.
2 years ago, you thought, wait a second, this guy's going to be a superstar. Last year, you thought, what in the world happened? What would his career turn out to be? And obviously, with the changes that have happened in this program, some things that he has done to stick with it, Tyler Van Dyke is off to an outstanding 2023.
I never saw a flag. I'm wondering if Restrepo actually signaled for a fair catch before hustling back up the field. Nonetheless, where he caught the ball at the 25 is where Miami's going to start this possession, and here's Van Dyke looking to throw. And that is Xavier Restrepo falling forward. Pickup of about 8 on the play. Tatum, the linebacker. Trinilius, the junior from Riverdale, Georgia. A lot of Atlanta flavor on this Jacket roster for Brent Key. And Shannon Dawson, who worked for Dana Holgerson for many, many years, brings a little bit of the spread them out, air raid principle, but also likes to subscribe to the run game. And he's got a bevy of backs to hand it to. And here is Parrish, one of them, who will get the first down to the right side out toward the 40. And if one thing you've noticed in kind of studying Miami, Tim, they've got a way about rotating personnel through these formations.
Well, and you can see already they got a couple backs in the backfield, and by doing that, it opens up some options in terms of what you can do in the run game. Parrish was with a good one there.
Parrish picks up the first down, and here is Parrish again across midfield into Georgia Tech territory at the 46. LaMiles Brooks makes the stop, But a terrific run by Henry Parrish Jr., the transfer from Ole Miss.
When you get a talented running back room, you got to make plays like this to stay on the field, and that is big time as he leaves Tatum basically grasping for air. That's a big time cut by Henry Parrish.
There was a marker in front of the Georgia Tech bench. Jeff Heeser, the referee, talking it over with his group. Brent Key interested, obviously.
Personal foul, offense, number 3, blocking while out of bounds, 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down.
So off the 43, that'll take it back to the 28 on Jacoby George.
I would say this, out of penalties that you can have, playing for Mario Cristobal, former offensive lineman, blocking out of the field of play, I feel like is one that he's going to be the least upset about. Is that fair to say? Play for an offense. Like I said, I get it. They say big penalty. They're moving on this drive, and it sets them off schedule. But there's something that tells me on the list of things that would upset him that would be on the bottom.
You think he subscribes to the edginess, huh?
A little bit.
Yeah. So after the penalty, first in the county line for Miami. A little bit of rain still falling as we're just better than 2 minutes into the opening quarter of play. Van Dyke zips one to the perimeter again. Restrepo back toward the original line and a step in, so it'll be 2nd and 9 on the tackle by Jalen King. Restrepo's second catch of this opening drive.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of Restrepo. They basically get him into the wake of another receiver's release to get him off coverage. And the thing that I would say about Restrepo is you see Van Dyke hanging in there to make the throw. He's just quarterback friendly. I feel like he sees the game like a quarterback in terms of how he runs his routes, how he has a feel for when to sit down, the body language he shows a quarterback. It's really impressive.
Saw McCormick, the tight end, in motion. This is Parrish again. He'll break the 45 before Kevin Harris. The rush in to Georgia Tech, transfer from Alabama. There's a look at number 11. Former Grayson Ram from Loganville, Georgia. Parrish has already got a 5-yard average on his first 3 carries. Now 3rd down for Miami, where they're 50%, 3rd in the ACC, 14th nationally, but just 5 of 11 2 weeks ago in Philadelphia in the runaway win against Temple. You see the bunch look, and then one to the boundary, and here's Van Dyke. Quick shot to Restrepo, another first down to the 49 of Georgia Tech for Xavier Restrepo. Miles Sims the tackle.
And it's a very similar thing. You get into a bunch, let Restrepo just let these other receivers clear, find that soft spot in the zone, fall forward for the first down.
Miami quickly to the line. Parrish a little stutter stop. Now tries to get going again, and Sims will wrap him up. So Sims with Horace Lockett, a redshirt freshman, also helping on the tackle for Georgia Tech. Tim, if Georgia Tech's got a mission, defensively they've made a change. Sunday, Andrew Thacker was the defensive coordinator, moved to the safeties coach. Kevin Shearer now calls the defense from his inside linebacking work in the classroom, getting ready for the week. Georgia Tech's got to be a better tackling team than they were last Saturday.
Yeah, they've missed a lot of tackles, and part of that you lose some one-on-one battles, but you also need to get everybody to the football. Certainly a big point of emphasis for them defensively.
That's Riley Williams in motion. Here's a little shovel pass into the backfield, and that's Colby Young, and he got pulled down by Jalen King. Riley Williams, the tight end in motion, was a key there. Georgia Tech handled it beautifully.
Yeah, and you see, basically, Tyler Van Dyke has the keep. You can just see he doesn't want to be a runner. I mean, that's not his game. Jalen King does a good job, though, basically saying, look, we would much rather you, Van Dyke, be the runner than any of these other skill position players. Van Dyke just needs to hold on to that one and pick up a yard or two.
See Don Chaney Jr.'s into the ball game for Miami. Here's Van Dyke again. Almost a security blanket to Restrepo, who tried to stretch out. Juggled it a little bit. I think he was on the ground before it actually was jarred loose at the Georgia Tech 43.
And Wes, I think that this is probably somewhat no man's land here in terms of going for it on 4th down, especially with what you've uncovered in the passing game with Restrepo in terms of, finding some soft spots in zone coverage, or even potentially hitting up with some type of run.
There's Coach Shearer getting his defense set. You see Miami's gone for it on 4th down just twice so far in the first 4 games. Restrepo in motion, back to a slot at the top. Quick throw on the perimeter, that's Young, and Georgia Tech equals the task. Moala, the linebacker. makes the play for the Jackets, and Kevin Shear's team gets a win in their first possession.
Well, he gets a win, and they are aggressive. Something else Brent Key wanted his defense to do, be aggressive, and it's Paul Moala making a huge play on 4th down.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My hand! I think we're leaking helium.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles? Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of this?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Ooh, yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
This record's fake, but a real accident can ruin your life forever. If you've been hurt in an accident, Brown & Crouppen has the expertise and power you need. And you can call us 24/7 for free.
This isn't Charmin. No wonder I don't feel as clean.
Hurry up, Dad. You've been in there forever.
I'm trying. This cheap stuff is too thin.
I told you not to get the other toilet paper. Here's Charmin Ultra Strong.
My bottom's been saved.
With its diamond weave texture, Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better with fewer sheets and less effort.
What's everybody waiting for? This?
Okay, hon. We know you're clean. We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
No score in South Florida here in this first quarter of play. Georgia Tech gets ready for their second possession, and Kevin Shear, first night on the job as the defensive coordinator, and gets a win in his first possession.
And does what Brent Key wanted him to do, be aggressive, which is exactly what he did on 4th down. Miami not able to beat the pressure.
Haynes King, quick throw on the perimeter. That's Malik Rutherford trying to pick up a couple of yards. Maybe got 3 to the 48. Rutherford 12 catches in his last 3 ball games. And coinciding with what Buster Faulkner wants to do offensively, Jackets in a no-huddle operation. On 2nd and 7. King gonna keep it, and he'll be swarmed under. Maui Noah. Francisco, the older of the Maui Noah brothers. He's the leading tackler for Miami coming in. He almost interrupted the handoff.
Yeah, this is domination up front by the Miami defensive line. I mean, it's basically win right away. Leonard Taylor so far in the backfield that I think King, whether that was a read play or not, didn't even feel comfortable handing the football off.
3rd and the full 10 for Georgia Tech. Kane's defense has been smothering. King that is Singleton, the freshman, tackled high by Cam Kitchens at the 49, and KJ Cloyd, the transfer from Louisville.
I thought for a second Georgia Tech was going to find themselves there right around midfield, maybe in kind of that no man's land again, but Brent Key sending on the punt unit. One thing I do want to watch for, I feel like, you know, it's raining here still. It looks like it's maybe starting to stop some, but but just as a quarterback, some guys handle the wet ball better than others. I feel like King has really struggled, getting a good grip on it.
Restrepo's 8th in the ACC. Shanahan flips it over his head, trying to get it to check up, and it does not. It'll one-hop the end zone. Miami will start from its 20. 49-yard punt by the Irishman Shanahan. Underway in South Florida, no score.
And Doug.
Hello, Ghostbusters. It's Doug of Doug and Limu. We help people customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Anyway, we got a bit of a situation here. Sure, I can hold. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, in theaters now.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles, the smiles, the smiles? Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
To 50 years with my best friend and my soulmate.
The Quicker Picker-Upper. Only Bounty absorbs spills like a sponge, and Bounty is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less and get the job done with 1.
You've got a bit of your face on your face.
Bounty, the Quicker Picker-Upper. And get 4 rolls in 1 with the Bounty Mega Roll, our longest lasting roll.
Mom, look, there's no price tag. That must mean it's free.
Nope, that is not a thing.
But the price tag.
Not a thing.
Look, Mom, we get 1 free.
Not a thing.
But it says that we
It's
get
not
one.
a thing.
Call Brown and Crouppen, where we treat every client like family.
Now that's a thing.
It sure is. If you're in a car accident, treating you like family is always a thing at Brown and Crouppen.
Well, we're putting a cap on Week 5. Week 6 of ACC football here on ACC Network will start at 3:30 from Blacksburg. Wake Forest and Virginia Tech both took tough losses today. They'll meet at Lane Stadium. And then ACC Network primetime football will be at the fabled Horseshoe on the West Campus. When divisions happened, NC State and Duke got broken apart in their series. They will play next Saturday night. We'll be there for you at 8 o'clock here on ACC Network. King looping it out for the tight end. He was trying to hit Seither. And James Williams, the 6'5 safety, got a hand up.
Here's what's interesting about this. You mentioned 6'5 safety. Seither is really going to be open, and King is trying to layer this football. Watch how he tries to kind of feather this over the underneath coverage. But it's the 6'5" rangy safety who has the ability to go up and make a play on the football. As a quarterback, you're just not used to guys wearing 20 numbers, being 6'5" and having long arms.
Yep. So here is second in the full 10 now for King. Quick throw the perimeter. And the catch is made, and stretching out is Jana, the transfer from Duquesne. Taylor?
James Williams, who just deflected that pass, has really come into his own, and he's dreamed of playing here at Miami his entire life. Born and raised in South Florida, growing up bleeding green and orange with his entire family. Says as he got older, he started to watch more highlights on YouTube. Miami stood out, specifically the great Sean Taylor. That's, guys, why he wears the number 20. He really wanted 21 in high school. They didn't have it, so he stuck with 20, an ode to Sean Taylor.
Third and short. Haynes will pick up the first down. Best run of the night for Jamal Haynes, Tim.
Yeah, and it was basically foot in your ground and go. Don't dance. This is a fast defense, and little misdirection in the backfield with Eric Singleton, and been pretty impressed so far with Jamal Haynes, who really was a receiver who has converted to playing running back, and if he can do that along with his speed, he could be a pretty productive player.
So Georgia Tech's picked up a couple of first downs. Now the ball from the Jackets' 42-yard line. King trying to get to the right side. He will keep it, make a move across midfield before Kitchens takes him down at Miami's 45. Best run of the night for Georgia Tech's a 13-yard keeper by the quarterback from Longview, Texas. And we're getting ready for the first snap for the Jackets offense in Miami territory, with 9.5 to go in this first half and still scoreless. Miami trying to get set as Georgia Tech brings some new personnel on. That's Singleton, the freshman, in motion. And here is Haynes again, getting to the 42. Pickup of about 3 on first down. Cloyd, the linebacker, the stop for Miami. The Louisville transfer who played for the Cardinals under the guidance of Derek Nicholson, who played his college ball at Florida State, who was Louisville's linebacker coach a year ago. And Cloyd made the move after posting just 15 tackles a year ago for the Cards. He's made the move to Miami, and he's been plugged into a very sturdy linebacking group that's headed by Maui Noah, we mentioned earlier, but the Saint and some others, Flagg, Smith, Keontre Smith, we've already seen here tonight. Quick throw on the perimeter, and this is Avery Boyd's first catch of the night, and he'll get a couple of yards. Helmet comes popping off on the big hit, and I believe that was Harvey. It was.
Well, the way this works, as soon as the ball carrier's helmet pops off, plays dead at that point. Really, Miami's winning on the perimeter when you look at the inability to block guys out in space. You saw Eric Singleton trying to get the block. He's not able to do that. Because of it, Harvey is there right away.
11th play of the drive for Georgia Tech. 3rd down and 6 at Miami's 41. And the Jackets have to burn their second timeout. King wanted Seither, the tight end, in motion to get him to the boundary side of the field. Couldn't do it. Brent Key uses his second timeout.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My hand! I think we're leaking helium.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
Once upon a time, there was a little kid. That's me! And she was in a magic garden. A really big garden with all her toys. Well, that's cute. And there was a cupcake house. And on top of the castle was a horsey with wings. Those wings! Yes, yes, yes!
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Mom, look, there's no price tag. That must mean it's free.
Nope, that is not a thing.
But the price tag.
Not a thing.
Look, Mom, we get one free.
Not a thing.
But it says that we
It's
get
not
one.
a thing.
Call Brown and Crouppen, where we treat every client like family.
Now that's a thing.
It sure is. If you're in a car accident, treating you like family is always a thing at Brown and Crouppen.
Wendy's Orange Dreamsicle Frosty, this takes me back, man.
It's like taking a trip down memory lane.
I didn't know they sold dreamsicles on memory lane.
For the flavor that takes you back. Get Wendy's new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty.
Well, Brent Key's team in a scoreless tie here with 8 minutes to play in this first half. Georgia Tech's only won once at Hard Rock Stadium, but Tim, in the final year of the Orange Bowl, November 2005, Miami was third in the country. They were headed to the BCS wearing some alternate jerseys. Eric Henderson, now the D-line coach of the Rams, was one of 7 guys to get to Kyle Wright. Calvin Johnson caught balls off his shoe top, and Reggie Ball scored on a quarterback draw to give Georgia Tech a 14-10 lead. Dennis Davis would close the game with an interception, and Miami did not see the BCS.
That was a pretty big upset right there. Some interesting names. That's why it's Westopedia.
And we're going to get procedure on Georgia Tech, so 3rd and almost 6 will become 3rd and 10 plus.
Ball start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Georgia Tech Miami is one of those games that longtime fans of both schools know funny stuff can happen when these two get together. 3rd and practically 11 as Haynes comes back in the ball game. Big spot for Haynes King coming off of last week, Tim.
And I think with this situation here, like, you still might be in 2-down territory again, Wes, like you were on the first drive of the game.
Here's King. He'll retrace his steps. Now he's just giving ground away. He'll go to the far side, load, throw, intercepted. That's Maui Noah. Fifth interception of the year for Miami defensively is the first of the season for the Canes leading tackler.
And King just gets himself into trouble. He's trying to escape. There just isn't anything there. Miami does a great job of sticking with it. He escapes outside the pocket. He reverses field. Now this is fine. Look, run, throw it away, do something, throwing it back across your body into the middle of the field. Just a lot of traffic. And it's Maui Noah, who we talked about, brother playing right tackle earlier. The Washington State transfer comes up with a big turnover and obviously helped with field position with how that was going to turn out.
Miami off its 35. Chaney joins Van Dyke in the backfield. They'll hand it to the elusive running back. He's got 5. He's got 8 to the 43 before LaMiles Brooks makes the tackle for Georgia Tech. And Haynes King throws interception number 5.
Yeah, and he knows it. Those are the worst ones as quarterbacks, is when the ball leaves your hand and before it's picked off, you know you should have never have thrown it. I bet that's how Haynes King felt.
Chaney burrows for the first down number to the 45. So King will have time to reflect. Meanwhile, Kevin Shear's defense that's prevented the big explosive play so far in the first half from Miami.
You know, it's interesting too. You know, Brent Key talked about being more aggressive, talked about how much they played cover 0, came after Wake Forest. Really, other than a critical 4th down, they played relatively soft, keeping everything in front of them.
Van Dyke and Chaney again. On first down, we'll get 3, maybe 4. And Miami with 6.5 to go in this first half, just trying to be very measured offensively. Haynes came into the ball game first in the ACC in rushing, 222.5 yards. That's 9th nationally, averaging almost 44 points. A.J. Allen, the Nebraska transfer, now into the backfield with Van Dyke, and here is Allen. And he will reach midfield and then some, and now a rugby scrum will carry him near the first down stick.
And we've seen that a couple times now, and I think it's something that Brent Key mentioned when talking to Taylor after the first quarter is not getting that knockback. You just look at, who's getting the push. It's that Miami offensive line with the Miami running backs that are falling forward, and there's a physical element to what they're doing right now up front.
Shannon Dawson's offense has been electric 64% of the time. They have the football, they score. So far 0 for 3, but on this fourth possession off the King interception, 3rd and short. And there is Allen, who played only 4 games last year at Nebraska before he was injured and lost for the year. And now he's got the first down at Georgia Tech's 43. And Miami feels like they're starting to build a little bit here with almost 5 minutes to play first half.
And I feel like what's happening here, there's patience out of Shannon Dawson, basically saying, look, we're going to keep running it if you're going to play soft. We're going to keep pounding you falling forward, but then when you change up, we'll take a shot.
And here is Van Dyke looking for the shot. Throws and caught. That's Jacoby George out of bounds inside the 20 at the 18.5-yard line. LaMiles Brooks finally shoved him out of bounds, but Van Dyke got his look.
Here we go, run, run, run. And then outside guy's going to run a post, inside guy's going to run a corner. Take the top off the coverage, hit the corner, and it's exactly what they were looking for. It took patience to get to it, but that's a well-timed call by Shannon Dawson.
Miami 3rd in the ACC in red zone percentage. 19 scores in 21 possessions this year. Longest pass of the night for Van Dyke, 25 yards. Play fake, gonna throw again for George in the end zone. Almost a sensational grab as he works against Amari Harvey, the Auburn transfer. It'll be second down.
I think it's a great throw by Tyler Van Dyke. He's throwing the fade, and I just think Jacoby George is too worried about the defender and fighting with him rather than just running his route, trying to get on top and save room. See, that's just like too much fighting, throwing up one hand late. Just go ahead. Don't look back for the ball so soon. Trust that your quarterback's going to put it there.
Second down and 10 for Van Dyke. Gonna hand the ball. This is Parrish. He'll score. There is a flag down on what would be an 18-yard touchdown run by Henry Parrish Jr.
Holding offense number 73. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Nez Cooper is going to wipe the score off the board.
Yeah, Nez Cooper playing right guard, and I singled him out earlier. Here he is right there. And really, I think Parrish does a nice job of getting small, hiding in there. And I think that grab, I saw it live. I'm not so sure with what goes on in there that would warrant a flag.
It looked like big Zeke Biggers he had wrapped up. Nonetheless, second down, back at the 25 again. Williams, the tight end, to the top of the screen. They're going to hand to Parrish. 3 white helmets are there for Georgia Tech. Parrish on the ground after a gain of about 4.
And Wes, you're going to say 3 white helmets there. That's what they're talking about. We're talking about just change your defensive coordinator. One of the things they definitely were looking for is effort to the football. Talked about intensity to the ball, strain to the football, tracking loafs during the week in practice in terms of guys not doing that. Listen, when you get 3 hats to the football, you're typically going to get the ball carrier down.
See the tight end McCormick just off the formation. Restrepo in the slot. Remember, he was hot early on the Van Dyke throws. Here's Van Dyke from the pocket, throwing for the end zone. Intercepted. That's LaMiles Brooks in the end zone and coming out with it. Still on his feet and finally knocked down right around the 25-yard line. So one interception is pitched to another. Van Dyke. It's the first interception in his last 100 attempts.
And it's just a terrible decision. It's late down the middle. It's not the right throw. And Miami gives it right back. And Georgia Tech putting up a fight.
Do you want to make out or?
Nope.
Because I don't either.
Really? It's not what I'm into right now.
Making out?
Yeah.
What are you into?
Talking.
Yeah. It's so cool.
One last stunt, going down in a blaze of glory.
You're the fall guy.
Fall guy?
Fall guy.
Rated PG-13.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My head! I think we're leaking helium.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles, the smiles, the smiles? Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or pretzel, and probably not a churro. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. Then we said, but we already made them, and they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Because you need to protect your family. Because you need someone who cares. Because the insurance company doesn't. Because you want to get back to where things were before it happened. Because you know you can't go at it alone. Because you need our team to get you through this. Why choose Brown and Crouppen to be your law firm after a serious injury? Because.
Well, Miles Brooks was a preseason All-ACC guy and 3 interceptions a season ago. His first of 2023 is off Tyler Van Dyke. It's his 4th career interception. And now all of a sudden Miami has thrown one back to Georgia Tech after Haynes King threw one to Francisco Maui Noah. And the Brooks return out to the 25's got King in the Jackets ready to roll. And straight ahead with Cooley for a couple of yards, maybe 3 or 4.
You can see what happens. You're basically trying to get a little double move to the middle of the field, and it's wide open, the middle of the field is. But what happens is the eyes over here to Restrepo end up bringing Brooks into the middle of the field. He reads the quarterback's eyes. His vision is onto the in-breaking route up top. It's just not the right throw. It's not the right timing, and it's a good play by Miles Brooks to really bail his quarterback out who made an error earlier.
That's Dylan Leonard, the tight end in motion. 2nd and 6. Cooley, the ball carrier. And maybe a yard to the 30. 3rd and 5 will be next. And Georgia Tech, in all honesty, has just run into a wall of black shirts in this first half trying to go north and south.
And they haven't been able to run the football. Running the football on 1st down has been an issue for them. It's led to some of these kind of longer down and distances on both 2nd and 3rd down. This one manageable, but I think they're going to need to throw the football more on early downs.
Brent Key was concerned about 2nd and 7 or more after Bowling Green the other night for his offense. And he's run into a handful already here tonight. And there's movement on the left tackle. And that will be Ethan
Before the
McInerney.
snap, false start. Offense.
True freshman
number
from
78.
Lassiter High School
5-yard penalty.
in the Atlanta
down.
area, Marietta, Georgia. And Ethan McKinney will pick up the penalty.
Oh, now it was like you had 2nd and 7 or more, because now you got 3rd and 10, and it's these situations, especially against a talented front, where you don't have a ton of options because you know you can't hold the football for very long. but Miami's going to play coverage, which is going to make the window small for Haynes King.
10 on the play clock for King. Going to hand the ball, and Haynes, or no, Cooley again. Got a couple, maybe three, and that's it. Reuben Bain Jr., the tackle for Miami. And a timeout taken by the Canes, their first of the half, with 1:32 to go, because Georgia Tech's going to punt the ball. Miami's going to have a couple timeouts, and the football, don't forget now, they get the ball start second half too.
Yeah, and I think that obviously is now, you find yourself in a situation where you're more concerned about, going into the game tied up 0-0 than advancing the ball down the field, being aggressive with it, which, to be honest, I think is a smart move by Brent Key to say, look, our team's fought in this first half. Let's do everything we can to have this. As we heard the pregame speech. Look, 4 quarters, maybe 5.
Yeah.
Like I think that's how he's approaching this, and I think so far played it pretty well.
Well, there is the 45-year-old from Clay, Alabama, 2001 graduate of the Institute. He is the 6th Georgia Tech graduate to be the head football coach of the Institute's program. Snap, and Shanahan, the left-footed punt. And it will hit on the ground in front of Restrepo and continue to roll. And the Jackets will touch it up around the 22-yard line. 50-yard punt by Shanahan. We are scoreless as we wind down this first half.
Ally is invested in women's sports. Are you?
Heart of a lion, fire inside me blaze like a siren. Why would you try it? Wake up the beast, no, I can't keep silent. I put my time in, now it's my time, your time is expiring. Blood, sweat, and tears, I conquered my fears, I'm ready to fly now. We know they scared of us, no, they don't care for us.
The game has changed monumentally. Ally is invested in the financial future of women's sports.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Ooh, yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None, yeah, none feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
Miami's moving the football, and then, quickly to the line. I think there's maybe an element of, hey, let's get this group over here. Let's talk to them a little bit about the situation, what our plan is going to be if they find themselves in field goal range, maybe a call to expect. It's like, hey, maybe if they get to the 20, we'll concede the field goal. I'm good with taking the timeout.
Well, Georgia Tech defensively tonight has tightened up in Kevin Shearer's debut as their defensive coordinator after getting the job last Sunday. Miami is scoreless so far, although they're threatening the throw in the end zone on the last drive, picked off by Brooks. Tim, when Van Dyke comes back out here, we've seen him work to the boundary almost the entire drive here. Does he even look wide with under a minute to go and those 2 timeouts?
I think with the timeouts, you absolutely can, especially. And look, I'm not even saying you have to burn the timeout, obviously, if you end up picking up a first down. So, yeah, I think that everything is at Miami's disposal with this situation.
You see Smith in the slot left. He looks boundary, now comes back, center of the field throws, and it's broken up on the way to Colby Young. Clayton Powell-Lee, Miles Sims were there in coverage for Georgia Tech.
And here's the thing, this is actually a good job of reading it out front side. He fake go screens, trying to get Restrepo. That's not there, so you come off of it, but that can't be the throw in this situation. The trail technique with help over the top. It's a very dangerous throw by Tyler Van Dyke. He's lucky he got away with that one.
Harrell and Restrepo near side. Smith and Young to the far side. And they're going to run it with Parrish. And they are clearly into Borregales' range at the 25.
And this is what I mean about everything at your disposal. You go ahead and run it, rip a run, get a first down. Clock stops for a second. Still keep your timeouts.
They stay in the 2-by-2 look. Here's Van Dyke. Quick look here to the boundary again. Tried to fire it in traffic to Harrell, and there's Brooks raking it out. Second down and 10.
Yeah, and it's a very similar concept to what they've been doing throughout the night. And Miles Brooks, who did a good job of reading the play earlier on the interception, does a good job of reading that one as well.
Boy, Tavares Tillman, who coaches that secondary, has done a really nice job getting those guys tuned up tonight. Georgia Tech's around the football. Now 2nd and 10 in the final half minute. Van Dyke to the far side. This is Brashard Smith. He'll step out of bounds, shy of the first down with 15 seconds left at the Jackets' 16-yard line. Clearly they're in Borregales' range. They've got the 2 timeouts still.
Yeah, and so now if you're Georgia Tech defensively, you really want to make sure that you're guarding the goal line. I mean that's really the mission now. Go ahead and concede the field goal, 15 seconds left. And so drop 8 in this situation is a defensive call that I would love.
10th play of the drive, off the 16. They're going to run it with Parrish. Got away from the first wave. He will get the first down. Mario Cristobal punches the timeout as KJ Wallace makes the tackle at the 12.
Yeah, and I think what Mario is doing here is saying, look, we're going to pick up the first down.
30 seconds.
All right, they're going to run one play, then kick the field goal.
Well, and I think that's why you run the football there. Third one, you need to pick up the first down. So you run the football, pick up the first down, use that timeout. Now with 9 seconds left, you have time to take a shot to the end zone.
Right.
Something terrible happens, a bust by your left guard, and Van Dyke is not able to throw the football away and gets tackled, you still have that other timeout that you can call. And so I think if you look at the entirety of this drive and how it was operated up until this point, I think Miami has done a very good job navigating a 2-minute drive scenario at the end of the half.
You see Borregales, he's 7 for 8 this year. He's made 4 straight. His only miss in his last 18 kicks is a 54-yard try against A&M.
And now the only thing you can do if you're Tyler Van Dyke is if the play does not define itself with how it's designed, taking off and running puts you in a real danger zone. Ball does have to come out relatively quickly.
Chaney spells Parrish at the running back spot. You see 3 to the boundary. Van Dyke looking toward the end zone and almost intercepted again. Oh my goodness. Looked like Clayton Powell-Lee almost came away with the second Tyler Van Dyke pick.
And listen, I think Tyler Van Dyke's a good player. This is unexcusable. It's a good pocket. You just took a timeout. You have the ability to talk through the scenario. It's got to be there. It's got to be perfect. If it's not, throw it through the goalposts because we're going to send the field goal unit on. They're fortunate that ball wasn't picked off like the previous drive.
Here's Borregales from 30. Snap a little high. The kick is good. And Miami on the board on the final play of the first half. 30-yard field goal. Andres Borregales. And it's a 3-0 game. And Miami the lead on the Borregales field goal that gets us to halftime. But Georgia Tech's defense allows just 3 points. The Miami defense has been terrific as well. The Jackets in this first half only with 61 yards of offense. So Miami has been the force defensively. Taylor is with LaMiles Brooks of Georgia Tech.
LaMiles, big defensive changes for you guys this week. How would you measure the way your unit played in the first half?
We're playing pretty solid. just adjusting to what we got to adjust to, but we're not satisfied yet. You know, they just got 3 points coming out the half. We dropped the interception right there, but we're going to keep fighting, and it looks like it's a battle of defenses right now.
Your first interception of the season at a pivotal time. What did you see on that play in the end zone?
I saw a pump fake to my side of the field, double move by the slot, and you know I played the eyes of the quarterback and tried to make a play for my teammates when we needed it.
As a veteran leader on this team, what do you want to see from the Jackets in the second half to close this out?
Fight. We got to play 4 quarters of football, 60 minutes. You know we're gonna come out here, we're gonna keep fighting on offense and defense, and hopefully the results are what we want to see.
Thanks, Lamiles.
Thank you.
3-0 Miami. Very well said by the Jacket safety who picked up his 4th career interception in the first half. Here's Kelsey Riggs.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My hand! I think we're leaking helium.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles, the smiles, the smiles? Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the upsell.
Hello?
Chloe! It's Bobby from Iron Flag.
Hey.
Can we interest you in upgrading to Muscle Elite for $99.99?
No, thank you.
Wow, I just got the go-ahead from my manager to double upgrade you for $149.99. Comes with a mini neck fan.
This is better.
Get a membership that fits your budget. Never pushy, always free fitness training, equipment for every workout. Join the judgment-free zone today. Deal ends Friday, April 12th.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
This record's fake, but a real accident can ruin your life forever. If you've been hurt in an accident, Brown & Crouppen has the expertise and power you need. And you can call us 24/7 for free.
If it's been a minute since you've been to Panera, you might not want to wait a second longer. More new sandwiches and salads, more in every bite, and more new options under $10. Come taste the new era at Panera.
From friends coming over to moms coming over. So many ways to save. Life ready, wallet happy. That's 365 by Whole Foods Market.
We want our dog to fetch it.
Drop it.
And drop it. Sadly, we can't have it all. Except at Sport Clips, where we check in with the pros in men's hair and totally check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. Sport Clips.
Once upon a time, there was a little kid. That's me! And she was in a magic garden. A really big garden with all her toys. Well, that's cute. And there was a cupcake castle. And on top of the castle was a horsey with wings. Those wings! Yes, yes, yes!
Don't get angry with me.
We welcome you back. We get ready to start second half. ACC Network primetime tonight. Number 17, Miami's got its hands full. They lead Georgia Tech 3-0. Great to be with Tim Hasselbeck, Taylor Tannenbaum in just a moment. Man, these two teams swapped paint on defense in the first half.
They did 2 good efforts defensively. I think sometimes aided by maybe some poor decisions, and we certainly saw it from Tyler Van Dyke. Has one come out of his hand funny there, and then just a really poor decision throwing late down the middle. That one's picked off and nearly threw another one right before the half, which would have prevented them from getting the 3 points they got. And No, I don't think he's played poorly, but I do think that there have been a few decisions that have really gotten this offense off track.
Yep, so Miami will get the ball first. They kick the 30-yard field goal. Borregales at the horn to send them to a 3-0 lead. Now Georgia Tech's second half struggles have been well documented. They've been outscored 58-30 in the third quarter, 105-69 in the second half. And off the goal line, here comes Brashard Smith. And he will get to the 23, perhaps the 24, and that's where Miami starts, Taylor.
I chatted with Mario Cristobal coming back onto the field, and he said it was a frustrating first 30 minutes of football. He said credit to Georgia Tech, they're keeping everything in front of them, but really it's us. We need to drive the ball methodically down the field. We haven't done that. As for Georgia Tech, the story is that stout defense, but you heard LaMiles Brooks as they headed off the field into the locker room. He said they are not satisfied as a defense. He wants to see fight in the second half from his Jackets if they want to pull off this upset.
All the action words from Brent Key in the pregame applicable as we start the second 30 here. Rage, fear, anger, all of them. Van Dyke with Henry Parrish Jr. in the backfield. Starting the second half. Miami off its 24, leading 3-0. And Parrish tried to get to the perimeter and got slung around and dropped. And that is Lockett. Horace Lockett, 6'6", 341 from Westlake High School in Atlanta.
And again, it's another example of getting hats to the football. It's a great job of penetration originally, and then it's Lockett continuing to pursue the football. And so I think when you look at that, it's a pretty good effort and start by Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Douse the initial blocker, and then Lockett the tackle. Injury, and we take a break.
Thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone?
Oops. My head! I think we're leaking helium.
Well, she's not the easiest person to please. Right, Mama?
She needs things to be just right.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, we do love her. That's my mug, isn't it?
But she needs a place of her own. And fast.
Thankfully, she's on Redfin. Redfin updates their listings every 2 minutes.
That means every 2 minutes, there's a chance we'll be back to having our porridge in peace.
Oh, wow. This one's just right.
Is she leaving? Yes.
Oh, it's happening. It is happening.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles, the smiles, the smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health, feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
This record's fake, but a real accident can ruin your life forever. If you've been hurt in an accident, Brown & Crouppen has the expertise and power you need. And you can call us 24/7 for free.
As we come back, Xavier Restrepo, a first down catch at the 42-yard line ahead of Kenan Johnson in the Georgia Tech secondary. It's a throw of 20 for Van Dyke.
Yeah, and again, it's Restrepo. Just does a nice job of coming out of the corner route, settling down, being friendly again to the quarterback, and a good job of Van Dyke throwing him into that hole.
So Miami recovers off the loss on first down with a 20-yard completion. Here is Parrish, and he got tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Looked like the Jackets got a hand in there again. That is Douse, Daquan Douse, the 290-pound junior. And the injured player going to break was Francis Maui Noah. And the substitute is redshirt freshman 290-pounder Matthew McCoy. Only played in 2 ball games a year ago to keep that red shirt. So he's come to the ball game at the right tackle spot as they check out Maui Noah. And now the freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Chris Johnson's coming to the game, and they get the ball to him immediately. But a nice open field tackle by Moala, the linebacker, taking the speedy Johnson down in space as we go back to the injury, Tim.
Yeah, and there's Maui Noah right there at right tackle, and they're just one of the zone plays working to the left, and you just see kind of mid-play something was bothering him, and he's come off, and he's a really talented young football player, but clearly in some discomfort.
So Maui Noah's in the tent. They're still checking on him as Chaney's come in to join Van Dyke for 3rd down. Van Dyke sets and throws. Restrepo the catch, and a pretty sure tackle shy of the midfield line by Kenan Johnson.
And again, it's tackling, one-on-one tackling, something that has plagued Georgia Tech defensively. They just haven't done a good job of it for most of the season, but this is a great play by Kenan Johnson, who is able to get Restrepo to the ground and force Miami to send the punt team on.
So 5 plays, and now the Canes and the Partisans here at the Hard Rock not very happy with Miami. Miami's not happy with Miami as Blaylock waits on the Dylan Joyce punt. Joyce averaging 42.6, his net around 36 as he flips this end over end, and Blaylock will signal for and make the fair catch at the 13. Still a 3-0 lead for the Canes on a Saturday night in South Florida.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My hand! I think we're leaking helium.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
Once upon a time, there was a little kid. That's me! And she was in a magic garden. A really big garden with all her toys. Well, that's cute. And there was a cupcake house. And on top of the castle was a horsey with wings. Those wings! Yes, yes, yes!
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Mom, look, there's no price tag. That must mean it's free.
Nope, that is not a thing.
But the price tag.
Not a thing.
Look, Mom, we get one free.
Not a thing.
But it says that we
It's
get
not
one.
a thing.
Call Brown and Crouppen, where we treat every client like family.
Now that's a thing.
It sure is. If you're in a car accident, treating you like family is always a thing at Brown and Crouppen.
Well, 4 conference games on the ACC schedule. Let's go to the Doak in Tallahassee. Trey Benson scored from 85 and 65 yards on the way to 200 yards today, Tim. Noles win 39-17 over Brent Pryce Hokies. In Chapel Hill, Drake May, 442 yards, 2 receivers over 100. Kobe Paysour, one of them. This is 76 yards. Carolina goes up 30-7. They beat the Orange 40-7. Miami in Kenan Stadium next Saturday afternoon.
I feel like Paysour should maybe get a little extra credit for that touchdown reception, and Drake May obviously putting up huge number, and Benson, really talented player as well.
Little sweep. This is the freshman Singleton. There's a flag thrown on a 7-yard run, but as the rain picks up here in South Florida on Georgia Tech's first offensive possession. Jeff Heiser.
Holding. Offense number 2. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
Dylan Leonard, the tight end, guilty there. All right, we've got a couple of Canes banged up. Let's check with Taylor.
Yeah, guys, Francis Mawinoa is still in the injury tent. As we mentioned, his left shoulder, he was in a lot of pain coming off the field and has not since returned from out of there. And then he wasn't able to use the tent earlier. Jacoby George, the wide receiver, because Mawinoa is still in there, he's holding his groin in a lot of pain, wincing, so we'll keep an eye on that one as well.
All right, thank you. Georgia Tech with the rain falling here at Hard Rock Stadium. Here's King. This is Haynes, the converted wide receiver, who's their leading rusher coming in for Brent Key's team. Back to where it's going to be about 2nd and 11. Taylor, it's picked up, huh?
I'm doing a weather report right now. I've turned into meteorologist, and I can in fact tell you it is 100% raining down here on the sideline. It has picked up significantly. I've been given a towel from the Miami sideline for my head, so not a fashion statement, but we're trying to stay dry down here.
Blaylock couldn't handle the throw from King, juggled it with the rain coming down.
Well, we have 100% confirmation that the rain is coming down. And I can tell you that's 100% confirmation it's impacting the football game.
Yeah.
Blaylock's wide open, running shallow cross. That ball just slips right through his hands.
So now 3rd and just better than the 10. They're going to hand it to Haynes, and he cannot break away. Najee Kelly, Jared Harrison Hunt lead the charge for Miami.
And again, it's the front that we've talked about. And Najee Kelly, you know, he's an interesting player. You see his length and his quickness. He's able to get in there, obviously, and then that's just good pursuit to the football by everybody else. And Georgia Tech can't afford the penalties early in a drive. Just get you behind schedule. Then you factor the weather into it, and it's just a recipe to still have a goose egg on the board.
Shanahan had to move to retrieve the snap, and now he has shanked it with the left foot, and it's going to stay in plus territory here. And it's going to be measured out of bounds at Georgia Tech's 40-yard line. So the punt not going to be much more than about 28 yards.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 4, 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's going to help the Jacket calls a little bit. Don't forget tomorrow afternoon, Sunday is Ladies' Day on ACC Network. We'll start with volleyball. Wake Forest visiting Syracuse at high noon. And then we'll turn to women's soccer. Virginia and NC State in Raleigh comes your way at 2. And then top-ranked North Carolina, number 22, Duke. The 4 o'clock tilt on ACC Network. And you see the talented right tackle, Francis Mawinoa, from American Samoa, trying to stretch out that left shoulder. Meanwhile, Miami starts back at midfield, their best origination of a drive tonight. Kane still leading 3-0 as we play on here into the 3rd quarter. Van Dyke 17 of 26 tonight for 139 and an interception. He'll hand the ball to Parrish. Or beg your pardon, that is Cheney. Don Cheney Jr. got a couple of yards there.
I really feel like there haven't been a ton of opportunities. Sort of like straight go balls, things down the field to these wide receivers, like, you know, an opportunity to go compete against the corners of Virginia Tech just in space, because it's something that Miami has done a really good job of so far this season.
Gonna hand the ball again. Cheney trying to break away. The Jackets are there. Georgia Tech got there to make the play. First guy was Kevin Harris, and then help from Mawala, who is still down on the play. Originally started his career at Notre Dame, played 23 games for the Irish, spent last year playing for the Idaho Vandals, and Paul Mawala shaken up here.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My hand! I think we're leaking helium.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Ooh, yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
Once upon a time, there was a little kid. That's me! And she was in a magic garden. A really big garden with all her toys. Well, that's cute. And there was a cupcake house. And on top of the castle was a horsey with wings. Those wings! Yes, yes, yes!
Well, she's not the easiest person to please. Right, Mama?
She needs things to be just right.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, we do love her. That's my mug, isn't it?
But she needs a place of her own, and fast.
Thankfully, she's on Redfin. Redfin updates their listings every 2 minutes.
That means every 2 minutes, there's a chance we'll be back to having our porridge in peace.
Oh, wow. This one's just right.
Is she leaving? Yes.
Oh, it's happening. It is happening.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rear-view mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Well, you see Paul Moala on his way into the tent on the Georgia Tech sideline, and he was able to make it up but had to have a little bit of help. It'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Canes as we rejoin you from Hard Rock Stadium tonight in South Florida. Number 17 Miami and Georgia Tech are just in one of those defensive mashups tonight, Tim. At least so far. Van Dyke trying to break the seal on it. Shoots it middle of the field. Restrepo, and he's going to be measured right on the line, I believe, for the first down at the Georgia Tech 40. Great awareness by Xavier Restrepo.
I was about to say, like a 3rd down, like that's where the football is going. In fact, if I'm Georgia Tech, I'm going to start to treat him differently on 3rd downs.
Going to hand the ball, and this is Chaney banging away again at that Georgia Tech defensive front. He'll pick up right at about 7, almost 8 before Eford, the linebacker, redshirt freshman, makes a stop.
And I like the idea of really fast tempo for Miami, especially with some of the changes we've talked about defensively for Georgia Tech.
And the center judge is holding up play here because Miami made a substitution and Georgia Tech's going to make one as well. I think Miami scrambled on Isaiah Horton late here. They're going to hand the ball to Chaney. He'll get the first down inside the 30 to the 28. So Horton wearing 16 there for Miami. You see him walking back from the play. He kind of slipped onto the field, and Jeff Heezer's crew recognized the substitution.
Yeah, it's the proper mechanics by the officials, to be honest with you. You need to allow the defense to substitute, and I think Georgia Tech only decided to substitute when that happened to slow Miami down.
Yeah. So 1st and 10 for Miami inside the Jackets 30. What a great look at the junior from Glastonbury, Connecticut, Tyler Van Dyke. And here's Cheney just running through would-be tacklers, and Eifert again, who only played 4 ball games a year ago and held onto that red shirt as a freshman, makes the tackle. So Cheney comes out, A.J. Allen comes in. We're seeing a parade of 4 Miami running backs tonight, as we expected from Shannon Dawson's offense.
Yeah, a lot of substituting in general. Receivers, running backs, we're getting more tight ends involved in the game as well for Miami.
2 tight ends set here now with Allen. Pistol look for Van Dyke. They'll hand the ball to Allen, and Clayton Powell-Lee, I think, was the last jacket that finally got him to the turf. It'll be 3rd down and about 3 here.
And again, to me, the player is Restrepo. Okay, if I'm Tyler Van Dyke, that's where I'm looking to go with the football. He's been the most reliable guy. And then if you're Georgia Tech, I don't think you can just treat him like he's any guy out on the field. I think you have to treat him, maybe double him, do something to prevent him from getting his hands on the football.
Restrepo in motion through the formation. Here's Van Dyke, look that way, now back across the middle, it's caught, that's Williams, the tight end at the 5, he'll stretch, and did he score? He did! Riley Williams.
Been a lot of good tight ends that have played in this program, and Riley Williams, I think that's an outstanding effort. He's kind of on top of the Georgia Tech defender, so his knee is not down. That ball crosses the plane, and Jalen King, who's tackling him, also prevents his knee from hitting the ground, and that's 6 for Miami.
Riley Williams is 6'6". He needed every inch of it to get the first touchdown of the ball game now with 6.5 to play in the 3rd. Borregales to add the point. And it is 10-0 Miami. 22-yard throw, Tim, for Tyler Van Dyke's 12th touchdown pass of the year.
Yeah, and it's an excellent job by Tyler Van Dyke. You're going to get Restrepo in motion. He's going to run out here. Then what you're going to end up getting is a hook over the ball after working a shallow cross here. And I think this is really well done by Tyler Van Dyke. No to Restrepo, no to the shallow cross, and then boom, right to Williams, your tight end. That's a mesh concept that everybody in college and pro football is running. That's getting to number 3 in the progression, and it's perfectly done by everybody involved on the Miami offense.
Riley Williams was the number 2 tight end coming out of IMG Academy from Portland, Oregon, in the ESPN 300. He's part of a group of tight ends here that they're really excited about. And tonight, his 2nd catch of the season is his first Miami touchdown.
Yeah, you see the traffic that goes underneath with the shallow crosses. When that happens, that little hunt round in the middle of the field just becomes available. And then at that point, it's just great athleticism, good effort, and awareness of where you are by Williams. And I do think it's kind of an interesting deal. You look at some players, we've talked about Maui Noah at right tackle, Riley Williams, a true freshman. Some talented young players on this roster.
Well, the interesting part about this 4-0 start is everybody's looked at the revival of Van Dyke, and rightly so, and also the familiar names. Kitchens, of course, leading the defense. But they are, by standard, Tim, a pretty young football team when you start to dig in a little bit.
Young on the offensive line, but guys that have played some, so that's been good. And I think that young and competitive, I feel like, especially on the offensive side of the ball, at every segment, tight end, running back, wide receiver, I think that goes to the job that Mario Cristobal has done, turning the roster over and feeling like he's building better talent here.
Miami's defense has dictated tempo tonight, almost from the opening possession. King, a quick throw, trying to get it on the perimeter. That is Luke Benson's 2nd catch of the night. He's going to be taken down back behind the line as he tried to scramble for yards.
I think Haynes King was surprised by the snap. I'm not sure that this got off the way that they wanted it to. Yeah, I mean, that ball kind of is in his chest like, whoa, here we go, we're playing. able to find the completion, but still behind the down and distance.
King, who can really sail it, has not had a chance tonight with Miami's pressure to throw it down the field. Instead, some of this is taking place, and he will scramble to the 28 before Reuben Bain Jr.
And Wes, I don't think he should be so reluctant for that. It's been some of their best plays tonight. Haynes King taking off and running. I think he's more than adequate as a runner, especially in some of those scramble plays. And that will start to open up things down the field in the passing game.
Georgia Tech's only got 3 first downs tonight, 2 more by penalty. Here is King. He's going to flip it down the field. It's caught. Wide open and making the grab is Dominic Blaylock for the Yellow Jacket first down.
And that's a great example of why you climb in the pocket as a quarterback. So it's not there right away, so keep climbing. Now all of a sudden you see it pop. There's also a threat of you as a runner. I think it freezes Williams a little bit, and Blaylock pops free, and Haynes King able to find him.
34-yard throw, longest play of the night. Here's King on 1st and 10 in Miami territory with time. Throws offline for Benson. Second down will be next.
You know, you see so many quarterbacks just sit at the top of their drop, and then you're a sitting duck at that spot. When you climb, the rush can get pushed past you, and it also, you know, kind of helps open things up for how you see it as you climb into the pocket. And I think King's comfortable doing that. I think it makes him more of a threat as a runner, and I think it helps this offensive line as these guys get up the field in that front for Miami.
Buster Faulkner mixes his formations here. He's got a tight end, 2 receivers to the field off the left of quarterback Haynes King. And King offline looking for Avery Boyd. And now we got a flag thrown behind that. I think we're going to get a late hit or roughing the passer on Cloyd, the linebacker. Jeff Easer.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 51. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Francisco Mauinoa, the leading tackler, and Mario Cristobal not happy.
We'll take a look at it. Here's Mauinoa, and it's going low.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think what they're saying is he wasn't blocked into him. I think maybe that dive over the offensive lineman and contacting him low.
It's the 4th big penalty of the night for Miami, the 15-yard variety. And King will keep it this time. He's trying to circle to the far side, inside the 10, and shoved out of bounds by James Williams, the safety.
Just reading the end man on the line of scrimmage, he crashes down, and I think it almost surprises Haynes King. He's not sure right away. Watch this. He pulls the ball, and he's like, wait, I'm making moves, but there's no one there. I really believe this, seeing him play. Like, I feel like he is somewhat reluctant as a runner, and if he would just cut it loose, he'd be even more of a threat with the ball in his hand.
Trey Cooley in the backfield on 1st and goal for Georgia Tech at the Miami 8, trying to answer the Canes touchdown a moment ago by Riley Williams. Here's King flipping it to Benson, the catch, and knocked out of bounds at the 1, and that's Kitchens. Luke Benson has got his 3rd catch of the night. He came into the ball game with just 2 catches, won a 38-yarder at Wake Forest 2 weeks ago.
And it's just this split zone where you sneak a tight end out into the flat, and look, you'd be thrilled with a 3-yard run down inside the 5-yard line. That's good execution, and quite honestly, I would not be afraid to come back to things like that down around the 2-yard line where they are now.
Georgia Tech only had 61 yards in the first half. They've got 74 on their opening possession, or second possession here in the 3rd quarter. 2nd down and goal. King flipping it again. Benson can't get to it. King frustrated as he cut it loose. James Williams was in the neighborhood of the Georgia Tech tight end for Miami.
I thought Brent Key, that, you know, the offense had a shift in a motion, and I felt like they were scrambling to get a call. Brent Key had walked all the way down inside the 10-yard line, almost as if he was going to call a timeout. And I think if you're Brent Key, with how your offense has gone, Wes, I think this is You're trying to score a touchdown here, which means fourth down should be in play.
Miami wanted a timeout. There's a fumble. It looks like Williams has come up with the fumble, but did we get a timeout first? Miami was asking for one.
The substitution process was still in play. The play was not ready to go. Replay the down.
Oh, the partisans will not like the explanation from the veteran referee.
Well, here's what's happening. His teams are subbing. The defense has a response to it. Miami is doing it. It holds everything. The ball is not in play. It's actually a very good job by Jeff Heeser and his crew. And here's another late substitution, which means you're going to hold the snap.
And now we're going to get procedure on Georgia Tech. Cooling move before the snap to King. But, Tim, to your point, Miami was trying to substitute out.
Hey, and here's the deal right now. Haynes King right now.
False start. Offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
This has been bananas. You know what I mean? There's been a lot going on. Snap. Ball's not even in play. Hits an official who's standing where the quarterback typically is. And then you get a false start and offsides as the defense is trying to sub. Here's what I would say. Haynes King as the quarterback. You got to calm your group down. Calm them way, way down. And a similar thing has to happen with somebody on the defensive side of the ball for Miami.
Third and goal. King to throw. With time, now will Tuck at the 5, dives, and it is a Georgia Tech touchdown for Haynes King.
And Wes, that's what I'm talking about. Climb. Climb in the pocket. Golly, if you are a young quarterback watching right now, climb in the pocket. So many guys, I don't know if it's 7-on-7 training or whatever it is, guys just sit there. Climb in the pocket. Things open up for you. You do that. Just think about what happened on this drive, because Haynes King gets to the top of his drop and will move forward to create offense for Georgia Tech.
8 plays, 75 yards, 3:18. Aiden Burr to try and cut the lead to 3. And the point is good. But you said a moment ago, just become a willing runner if you're Haynes King.
Climb in the pocket, be a willing runner, and now all of a sudden it changes how you have to call the game defensively.
Holding. Offense, number 2. 10-yard penalty. Retry.
So they will retry the kick here, I believe. Yep, Burr will come back out. King was 3 for 5 for 39 yards of passing. Remember, 34 of it to Blaylock. He had only had 24 yards passing in the ball game prior to the drive. And maybe more importantly for Brent Key, and of concern to Mario Cristobal, Georgia Tech answered Miami's touchdown with one of their own.
For sure, that's a big response. I mean, you well documented how the struggles have been, especially through the air, for Georgia Tech offensively, and they've come to life.
So Burr, basically a 30-yard extra point here. And boy, Miami had a few black shirts through there, but couldn't get the hand to it. So Haynes King has scored on the ground. His second rushing score of the year.
You see it, it was almost not sure, but climb in the pocket. Look at the lanes that you have. It's actually a good job of the guys up front, moving the defensive line in their pass rush. And then when you see it, go ahead and cut it loose as a runner. It's a great effort to the football, to the goal line. A lot of courage going in there head first. And Brent Key really should be excited about that response, Wes, because as you said, look, we kind of knotted up at 0 for a while, 3-0 going in at half, and then Miami gets the score, and then Georgia Tech's able to respond with one of their own.
Do you want to make out, or?
Nope.
Because I don't either.
Really?
It's not what I'm into right now.
Making out?
Yeah.
What are you into?
Talking.
Yeah. It's so cool.
One last stunt, going down in a blaze of glory.
You're the fall guy.
Fall guy?
Fall guy.
Rated PG-13.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My hair! I think we're leaking helium.
The future is threatened by enemies often unseen.
Stay alert, Marine.
And unexpected. In the midst of an uncertain and evolving world, the need for Marines to defeat these shifting threats is critical because the need to ensure stability for our nation has never been greater. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the upsell.
Hello?
Chloe! It's Bobby from Iron Flag.
Hey.
Can we interest you in upgrading to Muscle Elite for $99.99?
No, thank you.
Wow, I just got the go-ahead from my manager to double upgrade you for $149.99. Comes with a mini neck fan.
This is better.
Get a membership that fits your budget. Never pushy, always free fitness training, equipment for every workout. Join the judgment-free zone today. Deal ends Friday, April 12th.
With Armor All, a little bit of this protects you from a lot of that.
Armor All. Less work, more clean. Buy $20, get 5 back through May 31st.
We want the market price lobster and to know the market price.
How much is whatever the market says?
Sadly, we can't have it all, except at Sport Clips, where we check in with the pros in men's hair and check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. Sport Clips.
Zaxby's has been perfecting chicken fingers for 30 years, and now we're going to the sea! Shrimp butterflied and fried to perfection, and a perfect blend of Zax sauce and cocktail sauce called Zax Tail Sauce. The perfect southern fried shrimp meal. Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
So it's a 10-7 ball game. Don't forget, women's sports. Here is Stewart to kick it away to Miami. There will be no return by Brashard Smith. Miami from its 25, and a quick reminder to you that Sundays on ACC Network are reserved for the ladies. Volleyball for you at noon, Wake Forest and Syracuse, and then a double dip of women's soccer. Virginia, NC State from Raleigh at 2, top-ranked North Carolina, number 22 Duke. And women's soccer, 4 o'clock tomorrow on ACC Network, always for you on the ESPN app. Well, this 28th meeting, Miami and Georgia Tech. The Canes have won 2 straight, 5 of the last 7. Miami's won 11 of the last, or 11 of the 18 since they joined the ACC. But there have been some games where Georgia Tech has taken Miami's breath. And tonight in their first ACC game, here's another throw. Restrepo out on the perimeter, and the tackle made by Amari Harvey. Transfer from Auburn. Makes the stop on Restrepo behind the line. In fact, Tim, the last 3 games between these two schools in this facility have been determined by a total of 11 points.
Just how it has to be played, I guess.
Yep. So 2nd and 10. They spot the ball for no gain on the throw to Restrepo. And Van Dyke to load again. Shoots it downfield and intercepted. It is picked off by Harvey. Trying to find some room at the 40, and Amari Harvey to the far side at the 35. And Georgia Tech will start 1st and 10 at Miami's 25-yard line on Van Dyke's second interception of the night.
It's 2nd and long. Georgia Tech decides to play a 2-deep coverage, and Van Dyke's got the right idea. He just doesn't see the corner sink. And because of that, it's his second interception of the night. And here's what I'm talking about. You can have an underneath route here, but then you can have a corner. And so this is what I mean about 2 deep. High safety, but it's this corner here sinking underneath. And so you're reading the safety, yes, but when Harvey sinks deep into 2 deep coverage and picks that football off, you've got to see that as a quarterback. You can't just assume he's going to be playing the flat. It's a nice job of Harvey understanding there's not a threat to the flat and sinking, but Van Dyke puts the ball in harm's way.
Rutherford hands in motion. Now here's Haynes breaking free, and he'll crack the 10. It'll be 1st and goal at Miami's 9 on the best run of the night for Jamal Haynes.
And now you got to think about this defense for Miami that had been out on the field for a while. It is a hot, muggy night. And, you know, they just faced a relatively long drive by Georgia Tech. Quick turnover back out on the field, and then just get gashed on a run on 1st down.
Miami only had 3 turnovers in their first 4 games. They've had 2 tonight. Here's King keeping it to the left side. He'll get inside the 5 and took a hit from Porter and also Kitchens, the safety who's returned to the lineup tonight for Miami.
And it's another one of these read plays where ball is in the belly of the back. You're reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. It's Basaint here. He squeezes down. You outflank the defense, and now obviously when you got Cam Kitchens running you down, you're not going to get into the end zone. But that's a nice pickup in the red zone on 1st down.
90 seconds to go in the 3rd. 2nd and goal off the Miami 4 for Georgia Tech, who just scored a moment ago on a 6-yard run by the Jackets quarterback. Play fake. Here's King rolling, and he will throw it incomplete. Did the ball slip out of his hand?
I think that both of these quarterbacks, King is, you know, he's wiping his hand on his belt towel there, that I don't know that the ball is always coming out of their hand great. Run a roll pass, really has him right away. You put that ball in the upfield shoulder to Jamal Haynes, that's going to be a walk-in score. I think a couple things. Wet ball right after a run, getting hit by Kitchens on the sideline. Maybe all those factored into that throw.
Keep an eye on Blaylock at the bottom of the screen. Here's King, 3rd and goal for Georgia Tech. 75 seconds to go. Hands the ball to Haynes. He keeps fighting and drives to the end zone. 2nd and 3rd effort get the touchdown for Jamal Haynes. He took KJ Cloyd to the end zone with him, Tim.
You said it earlier, Wes. Jamal Haynes, converted wide receiver. Down inside the 5-yard line with a tough physical run and finish. Georgia Tech come alive on offense.
And Georgia Tech's got the lead in the final minute of the 3rd quarter. 4 plays, 26 yards, 124. Time for our New York Life Drive recap. Amari Harvey gets it started with Tyler Van Dyke's 2nd interception of the night.
Yeah, complimentary football. Harvey does a great job of sinking back in the zone. Good run on 1st down of Jamal Haynes, and then it's Jamal Haynes again. That's beating a linebacker in the middle of the hole and then taking him for about another 5 yards.
Well, and Georgia Tech, who's had one of the worst scoring margins in the 2nd half in all of FBS football, has outscored Miami 14-7 here so far in this 2nd half. And all of a sudden they lead the number 17 Hurricanes 14-10 with Tim, a pair of touchdowns in 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
And disaster for Miami. I mean, let's be real, disaster. Tyler Van Dyke, who's been off to a very good season, thrown 2 interceptions now, both of them bad decisions, and had another one that really should have been picked.
Rashard Smith brings it out of the end zone. He'll clip the 20 and be pulled down at the 22-yard line. Taylor?
Yeah, you guys mentioned Jamal Haynes making the transition from wide receiver to running back really this fall. Haynes King says he's been so impressed with how quickly he's adapted to the position, picking up protections and really pressing the hole while running the ball vertically. He said normally you'd figure a wide receiver would maybe try to bounce outside this early in his running back career, but that's not what he does. It's the exact opposite. He's become an every down back and a huge asset leading the team in rushing in that running back room.
Well, they've been chipping a little bit because early on tonight they were just hitting a wall of black shirts trying to run on Miami, but here in the second half they've certainly found some creases. Here is Parrish, and Georgia Tech's defense is now the one that's kind of dictating the run game a little bit here.
They've been acting, and I think that this is the kind of thing that happens, right? Defense that was struggling a week ago changes at coordinator, gets everybody's attention.
Miami had 100 yards of rushing at halftime on 20 carries. They have 128 here in the final half minute of the third. Van Dyke to throw on second down. From the pocket, sailing for Restrepo in stride. Big play downfield to Xavier Restrepo.
I think one of the things that's really interesting about Restrepo, yes, he's an option route runner. He's an inside slot player. But I actually think he does this fairly well as well. Makes him a complete receiver when you can attack down the field.
Kane's up on the line. Here's Van Dyke now. Clutches, wants to look, and tried to get it to the intended receiver, Jacoby George, here at the near side. Kenan Johnson was the guy who was battling. So it'll be second down and 10. Canes are threatening, but Georgia Tech's taking the lead as we go to the fourth.
And Doug.
Hello, Ghostbusters. It's Doug of Doug and Limu. We help people customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Anyway, we got a bit of a situation here. Sure, I can hold. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, in theaters now.
The future is threatened by enemies often unimaginable. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Ooh, yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None, yeah, none feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Back here in Miami, the Canes trailing 14-10 heading into the fourth quarter. Crazy third quarter there. What do you want to see from your team in the fourth?
Play Hurricane football, you know, make sure that ball security's got to be at a premium, right? Execute our offense, make sure that, again, we don't get caught up with anxiety. We just got to settle down and play football. Just had a big play right there, got an opportunity now to go down and score. We got to put this stride together.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Timmy said earlier this week we got to sharpen our focus. Been a couple of throws on offense, particularly maybe they came out of focus. Now they got to retrace it, right?
For sure. And You're kind of impressed with the poise of Mario Cristobal right there because, as Taylor said, it was a crazy third quarter and it flipped the game on them, but obviously a big play to Restrepo, and they do have a chance.
And Miami being tested in a way maybe they haven't been so far this year. And here is Parrish trying to slide through on 2nd and 10. And it'll be 3rd and about 7 for Miami. Only about 3 yards for Henry Parrish Jr. Micaiah Scott, transfer from South Carolina, former Red Elephant out of Gainesville High School in Georgia, makes the tackle. Parrish has got 46 yards on 13 carries. Miami on 3rd down tonight, 6 of 11. 2-by-2 look here for Van Dyke. Looks. Oh, it's intercepted. It's picked off again. This is Jalen King, and it's a foot race with Tyler Van Dyke, and he'll be knocked out of bounds. Inside the Miami 20-yard line at the 13 is where King is knocked out of bounds. 3rd interception of the night for Tyler Van Dyke, and it was Jalen King who comes up with his 3rd interception of the year. Timeout, back after this.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My hand! I think we're leaking helium.
The future is threatened by enemies often unimaginable. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
Excuse me, would you mind taking a picture of us?
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Yes, problem. You need Verizon. Trade in that old thing and get a new iPhone 15 Pro with tons of storage, so you can take all the pics. So many selfies.
A preposterous amount of panos!
That means panoramic. And as many portraits of me as your heart desires.
How about none?
None, yeah, none feels right.
Trade in any iPhone in any condition and get iPhone 15 Pro on us. Only on Verizon.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rear-view mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Well, time for our Bojangles Big Bo moment, Tim.
Well, watch what happens here. Jalen King, watch his eyes. He's going to end up looking over to the sideline when the ball is snapped. Because of that, he doesn't play it like it's man coverage because he's late to the snap. I think that changes the read for Jacoby George. It also confuses Tyler Van Dyke. And then Jalen King with the huge play to jump inside, pick it off, and then run it back for a score. And I think some of it was because he actually wasn't even ready to play football when the ball was snapped.
Rutherford in orbit, and Georgia Tech, I think, going to be called again for illegal procedure.
False start, offense, number 65, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Connor Scaglione is the right guard, transfer from Princeton. Tyler Van Dyke's thrown 3 interceptions tonight, ties his career high. He threw 3 in a loss at Chapel Hill 2 years ago in a shootout with Sam Howell. You see the 3 turnovers, 2 critical picks here in the second half for Miami. Straight ahead, this is Trey Cooley. Almost picks up the first down yardage. It'll be 2nd and short inside the 10. Big lick for Kitchens, a safety. And is that Cam Kitchens still down?
It is.
Remember, he was hurt late in the ball game against Texas A&M. And we'll tend to Cam Kitchens. We'll take a break here at the Hard Rock.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My head! I think we're leaking helium.
The future is threatened.
Sending coordinates now.
By enemies often unseen. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles, the smiles, the smiles? Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Zaxby's is already famous for chicken. Now we're going to be famous for shrimp by frying it to perfection and pairing it with a blend of cocktail sauce and Zax sauce that we call Zaxtail sauce, a one-of-a-kind sauce for a one-of-a-kind shrimp. Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
So coming into tonight, Tyler Van Dyke had only thrown one interception on the season. It's been somewhat of a disaster tonight in terms of protecting the football. Late down the middle, not seeing a corner sinking, and then some miscommunication with Jacoby George has really put Georgia Tech in front in this football game. And that's struggling. Still got to keep your chin up. A lot of football left. Xavier Restrepo telling his quarterback that, look, we're going to need you down the stretch here.
Just terrific camera work tonight. Director Bob Frateroli and our entire ACC Network crew. Alex Farmertino, our producer. Wes Durham, Tim Hasselbeck, Taylor Tannenbaum, seeing at Georgia Tech and add to already a 4-point lead here early in the fourth. Off the King interception, now 2nd and 2 inside the Miami 10. Here's King. Or no, it's not King. They have gone to the backup, Zach Pyron, down here around the goal line. King had lined up out wide.
And you almost wonder if it was a setup for a trick play or if they had called a trick play and just kind of got blown up in the backfield. But two quarterbacks in the huddle, Pyron taking the snap, and King was lined up at wide receiver down at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, quick in and out for Zach Pyron. And now all of a sudden here is Singleton and Blaylock coming to the near side with the tight end Benson. Benson's been a factor tonight. There's Blaylock. In motion, that's Singleton. They're going to try and run straight ahead. That's Cooley, nowhere. Reuben Bain Jr. makes the tackle. Georgia Tech will have to kick the field goal.
You go back to the previous play, you got Pyron in the backfield. I think that they were maybe had some type of double pass, some type of throwback, but they just don't get the edge. And because they don't get the edge, everything gets blown up. That puts you behind on 3rd down. They end up running the football. I actually think, Wes, that the aggressive call on 2nd down, don't get it. Conservative call on 3rd down to go up, a touchdown extra point here, going up 7 if you make it.
27-yard try. Aiden Burr knocks it right through. So Burr hits his 7th field goal of the year in 8 tries. And Georgia Tech's pushed it to a touchdown lead with 12:11 to play.
And I like that management there by Brent Key off of the turnover to make sure that you just come away with some points.
Well, don't forget later tonight, the ACC Huddle crew is here. Kelsey Riggs with E.J. Manuel, Eric McLean, Coach Rick, and Eddie Royal. Full day of coverage in college football, all the highlights, interviews, analysis, and more. The Beak of the Week from Coach Rick, all on ACC Network. Huddle late night from the Hard Rock here in Miami. Haynes King trying to gut one out here tonight in South Florida.
I do think, I mean, I know we've gotten into October, but it's hot here tonight, and I think that Haynes King, with some of the hits that he took early, some of the runs that we've seen him take off and make, definitely going to be sore tomorrow.
And the kick will be over the head of Smith. Miami will start from its 25, trailing a touchdown. Georgia Tech has but 168 yards tonight, Tim, on 42 plays. Miami, who averages 467, has 345 yards on 63 plays. And now Tyler Van Dyke, who's thrown 3 interceptions for the first time in nearly 2 years. And Shannon Dawson, he talked to us about connecting with Tyler mentally when he got here. Now he's got to rebuild him a little bit mentally tonight.
I think it's a great point, where you talk about, Shannon Dawson saying, look, when I got here, kind of was a wounded player with how the 2022 season went.
And Miami trying to run Parrish. And Jalen King comes down from his safety spot to make the play.
And so now Shannon Dawson, he talked about kind of earning Tyler Van Dyke's trust and how they kind of went through some rough patches in the spring. And basically Shannon Dawson staying calm, not panicking when things weren't perfect or Tyler Van Dyke wasn't playing great, and how that has helped Tyler Van Dyke so far this season in this new offense.
Van Dyke wants to throw, going to cut it loose. That's a first down catch. And making the miss is Jacoby George, and he will have enough for the first down across the 35. And there you see Shannon Dawson, worked for many years with Dana Holgerson, came over from Houston. Don Chaney Jr. has come into the ball game to join Van Dyke. Shannon said the only thing we didn't get to was a round of golf. You play Tyler Van Dyke in golf, you better get your math right, Shannon. 2-by-2 look here for Miami, trailing a touchdown. Chaney straight ahead. He'll get 4 to the 40. Second down coming up as we go inside 11 minutes to play.
And I do think that some of the adversity that you face, third offensive coordinator in 3 years for Tyler Van Dyke.
Yep.
You get into some of these scenarios where, look, it hasn't been great. You've thrown 3 interceptions tonight. But this thing's far from over. You can still end up being the hero. How Shannon Dawson communicates to him, trusts him, makes him feel like he trusts him, I think it'd have a big impact on how Van Dyke finishes this football game.
2nd and 6. Van Dyke going to sail it deep, looking for Young. Caught it. Colby Young inside the 10. Dives. Scores. Touchdown, Miami.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm saying in terms of a quarterback struggling. The tension gets ratcheted up because of the interception, the field goal. He just wins on the post. It's a perfect throw, and then once again by these Miami wide receivers, not going down easy as Colby Young is able to stay to his feet.
I think the review is whether or not Young's knee went down before he got into the end zone. If it stands, it'll be a 60-yard touchdown from Tyler Van Dyke to Colby Young. Restrepo's the one working on a career night with 139 yards on 11 catches. Young, who had 6 for 127 a year ago against Duke. Did he keep his feet here? Did a knee touch around the 3 or 4?
What's going to be interesting is that knee touch and then does the right elbow touch. So right here, we just don't get a good look to know whether it did or not. But what about that right elbow? See, to me,
here's another look, maybe more clear on this. Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah. And That's at about the 3 or the 4.
And from the previous angle, Sims is kind of blocking where his knee would be hitting the ground. Still a great effort by Young to find his way into the end zone, and I think Miami knows it too. As you know, Van Dyke was on the sideline and they had run over to. On that angle there, it's hard for me to see that it's down. On the previous angle, this one here, it feel like there, right there, the knee is down.
Now, a couple of pieces of the game ops on this. You've got to get not only the spot where the ball is on the knee, but you also got to get your clock reset too, because right now it says 10:15, and obviously they're going to add a few seconds back.
After further review, the runner was down with his knee down at the 3-yard line. The clock will start on the ready. First down, Miami.
So it'll be 1st and goal at the 3. So they don't add a couple seconds back. Interesting. Henry Parrish will come in the ball game as you see the knee down. McCormick, the tight end, to the left. A tight end with Young to the right is Williams. Now he'll join McCormick on the left side. 1st and goal, Miami. Trying to tie the game. Parrish. And he will score. Got hit by Brooks at the 1 and then just leveraged his way into the end zone. And Henry Parrish Jr.'s got his 4th rushing score of the year. It looks like Colby Young is shaken up on the play for Miami.
I think he's scraping across the formation, and I think he just gets rolled up on the end of the play.
5 plays, 75 yards in 2:17. And oh yeah, Parrish in the end zone, Young injured. Back after this.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My head! I think we're leaking helium.
The future is threatened by enemies often unimaginable. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles, the smiles, the smiles? Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Well, she's not the easiest person to please. Right, Mama?
She needs things to be just right.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, we do love her. That's my mug, isn't it?
But she needs a place of her own, and fast.
Thankfully, she's on Redfin. Redfin updates their listings every 2 minutes.
That means every 2 minutes, there's a chance we'll be back to having our porridge in peace.
Oh, wow. This one's just right.
Is she leaving? Yes.
Oh, it's happening. It is happening.
Zaxby's has been perfecting chicken fingers for 30 years. And now we're going to the sea. Shrimp butterflied and fried to perfection. And a perfect blend of Zax sauce and cocktail sauce called Zax Tail Sauce. The perfect southern fried shrimp meal. Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
With Armor All, a little bit of this protects you from a lot of that.
Armor All. Less work, more clean. Buy $20, get 5 back through May 31st.
We want the market price lobster and to know the market price.
How much is whatever the market says?
Sadly, we can't have it all, except at Sport Clips, where we check in with the pros in men's hair and check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. Sport Clips.
On that last touchdown drive, we saw wide receiver Colby Young go down with an injury, what looked like his right knee. Now, he was able to walk off on his own accord, limping, obvious pain on his face. He came over to the bench, sat down at first with the trainers, but has since headed into the injury tent. We'll update you on more information as it comes, guys.
All right, Taylor, thanks. Borregales now to try and tie the ball game. Snap is high, and it's blocked. Wow, Clayton Powell-Lee, Zeke Biggers. How about big Zeke Biggers at 6'6", 300 and a third, getting a paw up there. And some discussion here. I don't see a flag on the block extra point. Did Mario Cristobal? Not quite sure what the discussion is here. Oh yeah, Biggers, 88.
Personal foul. Defense running into the snapper. Penalty is half the distance to goal. Retry.
Tim, Miami has every indication. Looks like they're going to kick to the tie here. The snapper was contacted.
So here's what's interesting. It's a high snap, which I think slows the operation down. But you see the snapper just get blown back. You're protecting the snapper. You got to stay off of his head.
That is Mason Napper, the long snapper.
And you were waiting all night for that.
There's Borregales with a point.
Well, that's why it was blocked.
Right.
Okay, right. So rules have changed. You know, not most recently necessarily, but like, you gotta stay off the snapper's head. They're trying to protect him. And so Biggers, who's lined up to the center's right, here he is right here. He's gonna get squeezed with the rush. You see how they're staying off of his head. He's gonna get squeezed to the rush, run into him, knock him back. And look, with a guy with his head down, snapping, you're trying to protect him, he gets hit. It's why you're able to get in there and block the point after. I do believe that's the right call by the officials. Good job seeing it. Nonetheless, we're tied up at 17.
Miami's now outscored opponents 48-14 in the fourth quarter. Well, if you add the Burr field goals, 48-17, but Georgia Tech came into this second half minus 36 scoring margin, which was 121 in FBS, and they have scored twice and kicked a field goal. And Borregales will kick it away. There'll be no return, and Haynes King and the Jackets will start from the 25. Next Saturday's ACC football schedule for you here on ACC Network. We'll get you started at 3:30 from Lane Stadium in Worsham Field in Blacksburg. Dave Clawson, Brent Pry hook up at 3:30. Then Tim Taylor and I will be in Durham. Number 19 Duke, without Riley Leonard, welcomes NC State to Wallace Wade Stadium. Our coverage starts at 8. The Huddle starts at 11 on ACC Network and always available on the ESPN app.
You know, as we find this situation, tied ball game, this Miami defense, you know, you talk about Miami 4-0 teams in the past. Like, what some of the things that have made them special teams in this football program. You think about guys on the defensive side of the ball that can take football games over. It's a good opportunity for somebody to step up.
Orbit, here's King to his right. He'll sail it. Christian Leary was the closest guy to the football. Miami bench wants intentional grounding on Haynes King. James Williams came scot-free from the Miami secondary to pressure King.
It was a well-timed blitz by Williams. He's just going to end up coming down here, and because they time it up correctly, he gets a free run at King. Now King, I do believe, gets outside the pocket. Ball does get to the line of scrimmage. It also was eligible in the area, so right call for it not to be grounding. But Miami aggressive on first down, bringing a secondary pressure.
It's Scyther, the tight end, in motion. Here's King with the pressure coming. He's trying to sail it. What a catch by the rookie Singleton for the first down at the 39-yard line as he makes the grab against the Oklahoma transfer, fifth-year senior Jaden Davis.
Well, Miami brings pressure once again. It's one-on-one outside. And Eric Singleton, who is a true freshman, who showed up in the summertime, not an early enrollee, with a huge play for Georgia Tech. Not bad for the true freshman.
Second catch of the night for Singleton. Fresh set of downs for Georgia Tech off its 39. Trey Cooley trying to bounce to the perimeter, cannot break away from Branson Dean. Seventh-year senior, transferred from Purdue. He's from Indianapolis. Missed the Temple game, but is back in the lineup tonight for the Canes.
3 plays so far in this drive. We've seen 3 pressures from Miami.
It's almost like they've reverted back to the playbook from the first half.
I think Lance Goodry has basically said, look, we're going to come after you. Prove to us that you can make us pay.
Canes bring 3 here. King will throw, intercepted. James Williams working back across field into Georgia Tech territory, and he will be knocked out of bounds inside the 20. Second interception of the night thrown by Haynes King.
You always hear defensive coordinators say, look, we're not going to show you the same thing over and over again. 3 plays in a row, they come after Haynes King. You said it, Wes, on the call. Just rush 3, drop 8. And so now the windows are going to be smaller, and this gets pushed down the field. You see the underneath coverage carry. Safety in the middle of the field. James Williams is just a poor decision. And it cost Georgia Tech because now Miami gets to start this drive inside the 15-yard line.
Yep. First down and 10 for Van Dyke and the Canes. The ball at Georgia Tech's 14-yard line. Kings thrown 2 picks tonight, 6 on the year. Parrish in the backfield. 44-yard return by the huge 6'5" safety of the Canes. Here's Parrish, right side, and shoe top tackled by Clayton Powell-Lee. That came with a little punch, Taylor.
Yeah, Colby Young is back out on the field after he left the game with a right knee injury. You see now he has a brace and a wrap on that right knee. He rode the bike on the sideline, then right after that interception, he gave his trainer a thumbs up and ran out there with the offense, guys.
Flexible young people, Tim.
Not how either of us would feel after that. Good to see him back on the field.
Absolutely. Young wide to the left in the slot with George. Second down. Give it to Parrish again. He'll slip down on the turf as Georgia Tech was collapsing around him. Kennan Johnson from the corner spot. Mawala, the linebacker. Loss of 1.
And you see it. It's a good job with penetration along that right side. And then they also come with a corner pressure. It's Kennan Johnson who provides the added support. And now, if you're Van Dyke, who's made some bad decisions throughout the game, understand the situation here. You've got 3 with where you are. 3rd and long, you need to be smart with the football.
And Mario Cristobal is going to take the first of his 3 timeouts.
And look, I actually like this from a standpoint. Van Dyke nearly threw an interception after a timeout going into half. Call a timeout, calm everyone down, and have the conversation. Explain the situation. Don't assume that your quarterback knows exactly what you're thinking. So say, look, this is what we're going to call. This is what we're hoping to get. We don't get that. That's all right. Know where we are in the field. I think it's smart to take this time out with kind of the craziness of how this quarter has gone.
Really, it's for as much as we talk about the passion and the purpose of both these head coaches tonight, because they do coach their alma maters, he said it to Taylor as we started the 4th. We got to calm ourselves down. Quit playing with such anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And same now for Brent Key after Haynes King has thrown a second interception here.
No doubt about it. And so I think that's an element of being a head coach, kind of understanding what message maybe needs to get relayed to your team at that moment.
So you see Parrish, Williams, and McCormick, two tights. You got single receivers to either side. In motion goes George. No Restrepo on the field. Van Dyke will be sacked. Moala again. And now will be Borregales to give Miami the lead with under 7 to go.
Look, for Georgia Tech, it's look, we're not going to sit back and wait. They bring pressure, which doesn't allow Van Dyke to get the ball out quick enough. They're running a mesh concept, trying to get the ball, not able to get it out on time. And look, if you're Tyler Van Dyke, you probably received the message in the timeout. A sack shouldn't kill you in this situation.
Borregales to give Miami the lead from 39 yards, middle of the field. Kick is perfect. And the Canes are in front with 6:23 to go. Well, 11 points has determined the last 3 here at the Hard Rock. Might be going to the wire again tonight.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My head! I think we're leaking helium.
The future is threatened by enemies often unseen.
Stay alert, Marine.
And unexpected. In the midst of an uncertain and evolving world, the need for Marines to defeat these shifting threats is critical, because the need to ensure stability for our nation has never been greater. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles, the smiles, the smiles? Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rear-view mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
File 100% free with TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of taxpayers qualify. Form 1040 and limited credits only. See how at TurboTax.com. That's me!
Well, the James Williams interception set Miami up inside Georgia Tech's 15-yard line, and the Jacket defense gets another hold here, and Borregales kicks Miami to the lead here, Tim.
And I think it's an impressive stop by the Georgia Tech defense. Give them the football inside the 15-yard line, but come up with a sack on 3rd down, hold them to a field goal, and now all of a sudden the Haynes King interception, which was bad and leads to Miami having the lead. Look, it's certainly no nail in the coffin.
20-17, Borregales to kick it away. No return for Christian Leary. Georgia Tech's going to start at its 25. It's not a conference game tonight in Louisville, but it's a big one. Number 25 Louisville, number 10 Notre Dame, and Jawar Jordan. Oh my. Oh my goodness. Jordan, a couple of touchdown runs. And the Cards are on the way in the final minute, leading Notre Dame by 13, and the Jeff Brom tour, Tim, continues to be written.
What a start by Louisville this season, and
King from an empty set on first down. Trying to elude the rush, and he's going to be sacked. Reuben Bain Jr. The number 12 defensive end in the country after 77 sacks as a high schooler takes King down.
It's pretty good pass protection by Georgia Tech. I've been saying it all night. Climb. Go ahead and climb in the pocket. Kind of just sit back at the top of your drop. They know where to find you, and that's great power by Reuben Bain on his way to Haynes King.
Second and long off the hands of the intended receiver, and that was Malik Rutherford. He had to reach back now, third and very long for Georgia Tech.
I feel like the last 4 plays or so have moved fast for Haynes King in this Georgia Tech offense. This isn't going to be any easier. Third and forever, and if I'm Miami, I'm probably going back to drop 8, rush 3, see if he can make a good decision and throw.
Nigel Kelly, you saw him come in the ball game, number 9 for the Canes. King in the pocket, throws, that's caught. No, not. Rutherford could not squeeze it. It is going to be ruled incomplete at the 30-yard line. Kitchens the hit. The big junior safety for the Canes.
It was a pretty good throw, and it was Cam Kitchens. I think that hit jars the ball loose because it's to the hands of Rutherford. I think he's going to catch it, but it's the finish by Kitchens to get the ball out. Certainly good for the Hurricanes to have him back roaming the secondary.
Restrepo's had a career night receiving. Shanahan will punt it to him. Miami's up 3 with 5:42 to go here tonight at the Hard Rock. End over end toward Restrepo. He's going to back up on it. And he'll get away from the wobbling football. And Miami will start around its 22. 58-yard punt by Shanahan. It's been a career night for Restrepo, and it started early.
You know, they did a really good job early in this football game of just finding ways to get him into the wake of other receivers' releases into the zone. And then there were more opportunities for him down the field. And he has such a great feel. Quarterback friendly, 11 catches, nearly 140 yards. And look, it hasn't all been, you see the 12.6 average, it hasn't all been just short stuff. Some of it's been down the field.
Playmaker of the game brought to you by Honey Bay Tam. Career high catches and yards tonight for Xavier Restrepo. Off the 22, here's Van Dyke. Now with a 3-point lead, and Chaney on the ground. And he'll be stopped shy of the 25. Georgia Tech's got 3 timeouts. Miami has 2 as we wind toward the final 5 minutes as Andre White makes the tackle for Brent Key's defense. One of a couple of other guys from Texas A&M that came over with Haynes King in the offseason. White played 40 career games at College Station, including 4 starts a year ago. Shannon Dawson trying to get his quarterback back in a solid rhythm here. 2nd down and 7. And Chaney bounces just shy of the 30. 3rd about 3 here, Tim. And the clock will be toward 4 minutes to play when this one snapped.
And I think that with how the night has gone for Tyler Van Dyke, which has certainly been up and down, you know, here you are just inside 4.5 minutes. You're in 4-minute mode, and I think you were when you're getting the football back with nearly 6 minutes, which doesn't mean you can't throw the football, but I would expect them to keep it on the ground, especially with this look they're getting right now.
Van Dyke going to try and keep it, and he will dive for the first down to the 34. Clearly capable. Kennard tried to get a hand up, got enough to trip him up, but Tyler Van Dyke picks up the first down yardage to the 34. And an injured Georgia Tech player with under 4 to play.
This wasn't a design run. He's trying to work the top of the screen. He's got 2 receivers run right into each other. There's nothing there, and Van Dyke, who's working that way, doesn't like it. Good instincts right away, no hesitation. get off of it and get up the field just needing 3 yards. That's good quarterback play in that situation. And now, inside 4 minutes, got a first down. Now you want to end the football game with the ball in your possession if you're the Hurricanes.
Yep. And Kennard gets to his feet. And now Brent Key's probably got to think about the timeouts. Tim, under 4 to go here.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that he needs to. And really, I wouldn't be waiting to take them.
Clock is running. 30 on the play clock here. So Miami can wait and snap this with about 3:15 or so to play. And Van Dyke telling his offensive line, in particular center Matt Lee, just sit tight here, I'll let you know. And Georgia Tech lets some of the clock slip there, but they get the tackle, and Chaney, the ball carrier.
Well, so there's a couple of things here. First off, Van Dyke needs to not snap the football if you're Miami with 6 seconds left on the play clock.
Right.
You should be snapping it with 1 second left on the play clock. And I think that if you're Georgia Tech, you need to be using your timeouts now.
So Brent Key going to wait here one more, I guess. So Van Dyke now with 10 on the play clock. You see McCormick, the tight end. A 2-by-2 look here for Miami. And Chaney, the ball carrier. And there's going to be a flag for a face mask. The helmet came off. Andre White, I think, is going to be guilty of Georgia Tech on the face mask. There are 4 flags that I can see on the field, all for the same penalty, I believe, as Chaney was brought down shy of the first down. Jeff Heiser.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 3. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down. Miami number 2 can stay in the game.
Chaney does come out to get reset here.
Clearly a face mask, and certainly gets his money worth because of how it comes. Pulls his helmet off. Georgia Tech did not take a timeout here. So if you're Tyler Van Dyke, there's a little message. Keep the guys in the huddle. You don't want to have guys sitting in their stances for 20 seconds like you did last time doing an isometric squat like you were doing this morning working out, Wes, right? Like, wait. Like, you don't need to be up at the line of scrimmage set with so much time on the clock, and you need to be snapping this with 1 second, not with 5 seconds left on the play clock.
And it's pulled with 4. And here is Parrish. And he will get 7, almost 8 on first down. And now the timeout with 2:04 to play. So Georgia Tech uses the first of their 3 with 2:04 to go. Don't forget, post-game coverage from Miami. The ACC Huddle crew is here live at Hard Rock. They're getting the stage in place for Kelsey Riggs, E.J. Manuel, Eric McLean, Coach Rick, and Eddie Royal. All the highlights. Louisville's big win tonight over Notre Dame. Clemson beat Wake Forest at Tiger Town. Drake May threw for 442 and 3 in Chapel Hill. Florida State got 200 yards from Trey Benson. We wondered where Trey Benson was. I think we now know.
We found him.
Yep. 39-17 the final there. M.J. Morris has returned to the Wolfpack in a win today. Virginia and Boston College. By the way, Thomas Castellanos becomes the first Eagle to run for 4 touchdowns in a game since
Doug Flutie.
A.J. Dillon.
I thought you were saying quarterback. I still wasn't going to get A.J. Dillon right.
By the way, Jawar Jordan, 143 in the 2 scores tonight for the Ville. Man. Louisville going to be a quick story now, aren't they? And Miami got to try and manage the final 2 minutes. Here is Cheney. And will that be enough for the first down? It's close. We'll see how they spot the football. It is enough for the first down. And an injured Georgia Tech player looks like that Miles Brooks. It is. Slow to his feet after the tackle.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My head! I think we're leaking helium.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rear-view mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Because you need to protect your family. Because you need someone who cares. Because the insurance company doesn't. Because you want to get back to where things were before it happened. Because you know you can't go at it alone. Because you need our team to get you through this. Why choose Brown & Crouppen to be your law firm after a serious injury? Because.
You know, I spend a lot of time thinking about dirt.
At 3 in the morning.
Any time of day. What people don't know is that not all dirt is the same. You need dirt with the right kind of nutrients. Look at this new organic soil from Miracle Grow.
Everybody should have it. It worked great for us.
This is as good as gold in any garden. If people only knew that it really is about the dirt.
You're a dirt nerd.
Huge dirt nerd. I'm proud of it.
We want the market price lobster and to know the market price.
How much is whatever the market says?
Sadly, we can't have it all, except at Sport Clips, where we check in with the pros in men's hair and check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. Sport Clips.
Well, Brent Key, who challenged his team, and Tim, I thought in the visit he talked about the clarity and purpose of what I want the football program to be. That was part and parcel of the decision to make the change on the defensive coordinator spot and give Kevin Shear full turn of it. And now that team came and played tonight. I think the way he visions perhaps Georgia Tech playing. Now, do they need to be better on offense, a little stouter here on defense, maybe a few less mistakes? Sure. But on the whole, did he get, in your mind, what he's looking for tonight?
Listen, last week was a disaster against Bowling Green defensively. And if he felt like that was kind of the final straw of what he felt like he didn't like was going on. I mean, he said to us, look, my name is on this. I'm the head coach.
Right.
And so I want what's going on defense to be an extension of me in meeting rooms. And look, he can't be there for all of that stuff. And so because of that, yeah, I think he probably did get what he was looking for.
Meanwhile, Miami has learned some things about their football team tonight. And we've got, I think Jeff Easer's back out looking here at the first down number. Miami's been awarded a first down at the Georgia Tech 33.5-yard line. But Tyler Van Dyke's thrown 3 interceptions tonight. And the Canes, if they can hang on through the final 157, may live to tell about it.
I don't know that there's going to be enough to change whatever, what the officials ruled on the field. I'd say this too, Wes. Miami comes into the game 4-0. Tyler Van Dyke was not throwing interceptions and was playing great. The offense was playing great. If you're able to win a football game, when your quarterback throws 3 interceptions, you lose the turnover battle.
Right.
Is a very good sign for your football team because it means you're doing a bunch of other things well, which is, hey, getting some takeaways yourself, running the football well, maybe ending the football game, you know, in a 4-minute drive scenario. So there'll be stuff to learn, but they're also, you know, a lot of good to take away from this. And there's a chance if that knee is down that
it's going to be short.
Maybe they do bring it back a half a yard.
Yeah. So we'll get an interpretation
right
on
there.
that. Side note to Miami. Georgia Tech's got a bye before Boston College comes to Atlanta 2 weeks from today. Miami next Saturday is in Chapel Hill. And if this holds, that'll be a Carolina team that went to 5-0, 14th in the country. And a Miami team who is on the verge of 5-0, ranked 17th. And 2 of the unbeatens will play next Saturday at Kenan Stadium.
Doesn't it feel like Carolina got a little bit better mid-season with the ruling on Tez Walker's eligibility?
Well, certainly got some mental momentum from it. But I think you and I've. Here's a look at what the Canes have ahead. And I know the huddle group was talking about the game in November at Florida State. Now, in 2 weeks, Clemson visits Hard Rock Stadium. Tigers didn't look particularly sharp maybe on offense today, but they held Wake Forest to 12 and winning by 5.
After further review, the runner was stopped short of the line of the game. The ball be placed at the 33.5-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and a half yard to go. Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes, 1 second. Georgia Tech takes a timeout. The clock will start on the snap.
So that is 2 timeouts now used by Brent Key. You see Chaney is in the ball game with Van Dyke. If you're Miami here, Tim, you're just going to run this, right?
You're just going to run it. Yeah. I would tell you the other thing you're going to do is you better hard count.
Shotgun set here for Van Dyke. They're going to hand the ball to Chaney. There's the 1st down. And all of a sudden a little bit of a scrum at the 30, but nonetheless the Miami 1st down. And you see Inez Cooper finally up off the ground. By the way, when Francis Maui-Noa left this ball game, he has come back to play right tackle tonight. Big 61 over there, the freshman. Playing with Cooper on that right side. 90 seconds to go. Chaney's got 97 yards on 20 carries tonight for the Canes. And well, about the time Van Dyke handed it to him, Chaney got hit. Brent Key uses his last time out now with 1:18 to play. So Georgia Tech will use the last time out. The line holds here. The Jackets will be 2-4 and 1-2 in the ACC with BC in 2 weeks. And they'll have 5 league games behind that before the regular season finale with Georgia. We showed you the Miami schedule a moment ago. Carolina, Clemson, Florida State. I mean, that's why Mario Cristobal talked this week about sharpening our focus.
Hey, and don't forget Louisville in that mix as well at the end of the year. They don't have an easy schedule in front of them. They're going to face some good quarterbacks going down the stretch. They're going to face some athletic teams that, you know, they won't necessarily have like the distinct advantage over like they do sometimes in matchups. And so, you know, with that, look, it's a great start for Miami, but it also is far from over in terms of what they want to get done. But getting to 10 wins certainly seemed like it'd be very attainable.
Van Dyke Chaney again. He'll reach the 30. Georgia Tech's out of timeouts with 72 seconds to go. Braylon Oliver, the Minnesota transfer, the stop for Brent Key's defense.
Yeah, this is knee territory. I'm not sure.
I mean, you can take a knee on third down and take another one. Well, if you wait, actually, what?
No,
Yeah,
it's under 46. Just take a knee. Like, you should not be handing this football off.
Right.
I don't know what Miami is doing.
That's it. And here's Chaney. The straight ahead, tackled, and the ball popped out.
You got to read the clock. I mean, read the card. I mean, to me,
Georgia Tech has it with 26 seconds left. Kyle Kennard comes up with the fumble.
You should not be running the football. I mean, you should be taking a knee. As soon as you got that first down, they used that last time out. As long as you milk it all the way down, you don't need to be doing this, and you certainly don't need to be fighting for extra yards.
Is it out as he hits the ground, or is he on the ground?
He might
Elbow
be down.
He might be down. And Miami may. Well, they're going to look at this.
Ruling on the field is a fumble. That play is under further review.
All right, so with 26 seconds left, but Tim, the point is, this didn't even have to happen for Miami.
They would have been snapping the third down play inside 40 seconds.
Right.
Which means you take a knee, and then at that point, you don't have to take another snap.
Kyle Eifert is the guy who, by the way, is trying to rip a football out.
I mean, there are a number of layers here to this. Is even if you were running plays, understanding the situation in terms of protecting the football as a back. And I think, listen, it was called on the field as a fumble. It looks to me as if he is down.
Right.
But is there enough there to overturn it, to know when that ball is actually starting to move? I'm not sure.
But let's go back to the fact that they ran the ball.
The fact of the matter is,
right,
there's a very simple sheet card, whatever you want to call it, to say this many timeouts, this much time on the clock, you are in victory formation.
The elbow looks like it hits at the 25. And then the ball is scrambled out. Now the question is, was he laying on Eifert when the ball is jarred loose, or did the elbow hit before the ball came out? And this angle right here, hard to tell, as it looks like Moala ripped it out of there.
Listen, I think there are a lot of things.
Hey, thanks for the ride, guys. Earn double miles on our tickets with the Capital One Venture Card.
Is a blimp the best way to get to the Final Four?
It is when you look this handsome. It's the airbound mound of rebound.
Champagne, anyone? Oops.
My hand! I think we're leaking helium.
Where does the human spirit live? Is it in the eyes? In an outstretched hand?
Your last one. Finish
In the
strong.
tears we spill? The prayers we speak? Or the smiles? The smiles? The smiles. Or maybe it lives where the body's strength, the mind's will, and the soul's purpose all come together. The place where we feel the most whole. Advent Health. Feel whole.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rearview mirror. Only a Tucson compares to a Tucson. Now, get up to $1,250 retail bonus cash on a Hyundai Tucson. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
Look, Mom, we get one free.
Not a thing.
But it says that we
It's
get
not
one.
a thing.
Call Brown and Crouppen, where we treat every client like family.
Now that's a thing.
Treating you like family is always a thing. Our thing.
Well, she's not the easiest person to please. Right, Mama?
She needs things to be just right.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, we do love her. That's my mug, isn't it?
But she needs a place of her own. And fast.
Thankfully, she's on Red Fam. Redfin updates their listings every 2 minutes.
That means every 2 minutes, there's a chance we'll be back to having our porridge in peace.
Oh, wow. This one's just right.
Is she leaving? Yes.
Oh, it's happening. It is happening.
We want the market price lobster and to know the market price.
How much is whatever the market says?
Sadly, we can't have it all, except at Sport Clips, where we check in with the pros in men's hair and check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. Sport Clips.
Hey, you seeing this?
Wait, where's the dish?
There ain't one.
You're telling me you can get direct TV, the good stuff, and you don't need a satellite dish? Oh, I used to love doing my business on those things.
You're one sick pigeon. Them dishes kept the rain off our beaks.
We just have different priorities is all.
Satellite-free direct TV. Never thought I'd see the day.
Well, our lifespans are quite short.
Stream direct TV without a satellite dish.
I'm gonna do this thing with my neck just for a bit.
Once upon a time, there was a little kid. That's me. And she was in a magic garden. A really big garden with all her toys. Well, that's cute. And there was a cupcake house. And on top of the castle was a horsey with wings. Those wings. Yes, yes, yes.
Let me preface this by saying, I think Mario Cristobal has done a very good job with this program and this staff. He had a lot of changeover in the staff. This is an unexcusable mistake. This is a very simple one. This isn't, hey, you know, you're down 2. Analytics now are saying go for 2 and all that type of stuff. This is very simple. Other team has no timeouts. There is no reason putting the ball in harm's way. And looking at that angle with the zoom there, with the call being that it was a fumble on the field, I think there's a likelihood that this play can stand.
Well, Jeff Heeser's still looking. And the world famous indisputable video evidence to overturn the call. Now you see the elbow down, but it's the other angle where you got to measure where the ball is in terms of its security with Chaney on the carry.
We've seen it a bunch of times. I mean, there is not clear and obvious information there to change this.
Here's Jeff Heeser.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Georgia Tech.
So with 26 seconds left, Miami commits its 4th turnover of the night on the fumble by Chaney. And the recovery by Kyle Kennard.
Here's the deal now, if you're Georgia Tech. Ball can go anywhere. Of course, you want to work the sidelines, but with the clock stopping on first down, if you get the first down, you need to, anything in the middle of the field, race to the football and stop the clock by spiking it.
Snap to King. Miami brings 4. King's in trouble. Throw it behind the intended receiver. Cooley incomplete. Only 4 seconds off the clock. It was Harvey who came through on the initial pressure of Haynes King.
Here's the other element of this type of drive for Georgia Tech. If you're receivers, you have to be ready to run receivers in the game, especially if it's deep route after deep route by those receivers with no timeouts, being prepared to spell guys that are way down the field.
3 to the field for King. Up in the pocket, gonna loop it down the field, and it is caught! And that's Rutherford, who hangs on to it in Miami territory.
And you got to get up and clock it. The cleats have got to be in the ground as soon as the whistle, as soon as they wind it, you got to clock it.
Here's King, he will clock it. 4 seconds come off the clock, 10 seconds left.
All right, now here's the deal. Because there's 10 seconds left, okay, you need to be in a situation where you have to work the sidelines now. A Mayday field goal cannot happen with 10 seconds on the clock. Everything has to be working the sidelines because I don't believe you've got enough time to get to the line of scrimmage and clock the football.
Singleton, the fastest of the receivers, to the top of the screen. Here's King from the pocket. Flush to his right with 6. 5. Gonna loop it downfield. And ball is caught! Touchdown, Georgia Tech! With 1 second to go in the ball game, Christian Leary hauls it in.
I mean, I'm going to say it. It needs to be said. That's one of the biggest coaching mistakes at this level that I have ever seen in my lifetime. You should not be running the football. You run the football, it fumbles, and then you give up a score. That is devastating for a 4-0 Miami team to get their first loss of the season on a sequence like that.
Haynes King throws to Christian Leary from 44 yards. And Georgia Tech is going to steal one in the thick of the night in South Florida.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown. That play is under further review.
So while they look here, and is this about Leary breaking the plane on the dive, perhaps? What a throw and what a catch.
Listen, when Haynes King started to scramble, I wasn't sure that it was a good idea as he was going to run out of time. And Leary does take himself down at the goal line. And the officials are right to obviously take a look at it, but that's a touchdown. I said it all night. Haynes King, listen, attack up the field in the pocket. It opens things up when you become a threat, even in that situation. But I gotta be honest, as bad as the defensive blunder is to let somebody behind you, I think it's impossible to overstate
the ruling on the field stands.
The disaster
Touchdown.
in terms of game management.
The game clock to
end the football. It was actually an impressive 4-minute drive. You were going to end the football game with the ball in your possession. Every coach desires to do that. Your offense did it. And that's why victory formation was invented, for plays like that.
And Haynes King has now thrown the game winner. When it looked like Miami was going to salt away the win, now all of a sudden, Mario Cristobal's team has watched it slip literally right from their fingers. Here tonight in the final 26 seconds.
And look, Georgia Tech, this is good game management. I don't believe they're even going to attempt the try, because obviously you could have it blocked and run back. So just go ahead and fail the try. Take a knee. Hear that, Wes?
Yep.
Take a knee so you do not risk on a scoring play the idea that Miami could block a kick and run it back.
Right. And Don Chaney trying to be consoled by his teammates.
Listen, Don Chaney should never be in that situation.
Georgia Tech and Haynes King have won this game. Wow, Tim. 1 second left.
And so I think on this, just think about the kickoff now, right? So now you're thinking, you're obviously a kick deep. You got to be careful on the return.
Let's go back to the play that started this entire sequence. Don Chaney Jr. hit by Mawala and Eford. The ball is ripped out by Paul Mawala, the linebacker. Recovered by Kyle Kennard.
Hey, listen, and credit Georgia Tech for playing hard to the end, defensively raking at the football, and then obviously in the 2-minute drive, Haynes King to come up with this play. I think in this scenario, I think you squib this. I think you squib this so the ball gets fielded and the game ends on a kickoff return. Some type of sky kick could be fair caught. And then all of a sudden you get an offensive play. I think this needs to be squib kicked. And at that point, then you cover, you prevent a traditional return, and you squib kick it to the highest number on the field. Find an 80s number, not a 20s number. And listen, I was just gonna say this, part of this, and Chaney's gonna be hard on himself as he wants to do his job. but that's astonishing.
Stewart just going to bounce it along the ground. It will roll free. Miami lets it go out of bounds. And there will get one snap from scrimmage. 2 seconds left.
Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team. 5 yards will be added to the end of the kick being out of bounds. First down, Miami.
Is there one more stroke of bizarre left here? Christian Leary, who transferred from Alabama, had his first touchdown catch last week against Bowling Green, may have just joined the Georgia Tech Legends list.
I will say this now, okay? Because of what just happened, a Hail Mary is reachable now. We're not down to the 20-yard line. Van Dyke has plenty of arm to get this to the end zone. Now you have to protect long enough. And down at the bottom of the screen is 6'5" Jacoby Young.
Here's Van Dyke looking, flips it to the middle of the field. This is Restrepo. He'll dance. The clock is expired. And Xavier Restrepo's got to look for help. Now he's going to throw it back across the field. And here is Colby Young coming to the near side. Now Young going to give it back to Van Dyke. He's going to sling it back to Restrepo. Miami trying to string this play out, schoolyard style. Now to Young, middle of the field. Colby Young looking for some help. He's going to throw it back, and this is Jacoby George. Now he'll dance with it. George trying to make a move with it. Ball got knocked loose, and the game is over. The playground style at the end did not help Miami. Brent Key has gotten another ranked road win as the head coach at Georgia Tech. He did it last year at Pittsburgh. He did it in Chapel Hill. And tonight, he does it to his buddy Mario Cristobal.
Listen, he does it. That's a great, gritty win for Georgia Tech. I mean, about as gritty as you can get it. There's also a scenario, as much as that is a win for Georgia Tech, that's a loss by Miami.
Taylor Tannenbaum is downstairs with old number 70.
We're in the thick of the chaos, Coach. You just knocked off 17th ranked Miami, a crazy game. What does this win mean for Georgia Tech?
Hell, it means a lot. Kidding me? I mean, it shows who we can be. It shows who we are. We talk about establishing identity, and we knew who we had. We knew what we were. We knew we could play hard for 60 minutes. We just ain't shown it yet, and we did. We played hard until you talk about 60 minutes. We played for 60 minutes on the dot.
Miami was running the ball there late. What was in your mind when you saw them doing that late in the game?
Well, when we got the when we got the review and we got the stop, third down, Kevin told the defense all week this game was going to come down to a 4th and 1. It just happened to be 3rd and 1, and we got to do it twice, and we got the fumble and were able to do it. So,
what can you say about your quarterback, Haynes King, and that ball there late for the game-winning touchdown?
He kept his eyes downfield. I've said it before. He's not a guy that just runs to run. He runs and scrambles to throw the ball downfield, and good things happen.
What do you hope people learned about Jackets football tonight?
Same thing before. I said I don't care what anybody else thinks. Anybody outside of them doors, it really don't matter. It's about the guys inside those doors and the people that are inside the circle. All right, we're going to keep it real tight.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thanks, go Jackets.
I'd say so, Taylor. How about those two guys tonight, huh? What an amazing ball game. You hang around long enough, you'll see them all. Taylor's with Haynes King.
I don't know if your nerves have calmed down there. What did you see on that final play?
Scramble mode, about to throw it away or find somebody open. See Leary do his scramble rolls, got over the top, threw it over the top. I was like, that's money. It just felt it as soon as it left my fingers.
Big hug there with your head coach, Brent Key. What has he meant for you transferring from Texas A&M now here to Georgia Tech?
Everything. He believed in me. You know, he took a chance on taking me, coming to Georgia Tech, leading this football team. He took a chance, and he believed in me. And that's all it takes.
This guy right here. What we talking about last night, baby? What we talking about last night, man? Love you, baby. Love you.
Well, what did you talk about last night?
You just got to trust the people around you. You got to let the team make plays around you. It's not just about, hey, one guy got to make plays. Stuff goes down. You got to trust the team around you. get everybody involved. You know, keep trusting. All you have to do is they just have to believe in you, just like Key believed in me. If they look at me and they gain confidence, like, hey, we're going to get this job done, that's all it takes. That's what we did.
When I talked to you this week, I asked you what you've been most proud of in a Jackets uniform. You said your first ACC win. You got number 2 here tonight. Where does this one rank?
Probably top 1, how it ended. Oh my God, it was a good game. And the defense, oh my God, they played tremendous. You know, pretty much, to me, almost, it was close to a shutout, the way they played. That's what it felt like, at least. It felt like 0-0 most of the game, you know. But, oh my God, Miami, great coach team. We knew it was coming into. They were going to be athletic, great coach, physical, fast, all that. And, oh my God, I don't even know.
Congratulations, Haynes. Enjoy this one.
Thank you. I am.
Well, Haynes King puts the capper on this, but Tim, let's be honest. Let's go back. Rather than take a knee to run the clock out, Don Chaney gets the football, and Kyle Eford and Paul Mawala come up with the combination in the strip. Kyle Kennard pulls it out of there, and my goodness, 4 plays later, they're in the end zone.
One of the wildest finishes I've ever seen. You can see some wild finishes, but I think the thing that's so stunning is that all of